How are you feeling? How long have you been here?
3 months, May 17th.
And what brought you?
That's difficult to answer.
Some idea.
I'm not completely like other people.
What do you mean by that?
People dislike me because I am not completely like them. I am trying to do with my life something which few people try to do, and this influences my thinking and consequently my action.
What is it you're trying to do with your life?
Play the piano for people.
I'm not clear. How is it that playing the piano for people has eventually resulted in your being here in the hospital?
That's difficult to answer.
is the end. There's a noise inside my head of crying people facing death. Is this the end? Is this the end? I'm burning in the stone. There's no place to hide. I'm burning in the stone. What have we done to the world? What have we done to the world? I'm burning in the stone. There's no place to hide. I'm burning in the stone. This is the final
What's up? What's up? What's up, everyone? Happy Monday. What a weird fucking weekend I had. Did anyone else have a weird fucking weekend? Is like, I know Mercury's not in retrograde, but like, I feel like something is going on. I feel like something astrological is going on because I just had a really, really weird weekend and I'm going to tell you guys about it. I'm going to tell you guys about it a little bit anyway, and someone on the internet's not going to like that I'm telling you about it, but I really don't truly give a fuck. Anyway, but before we get into that, did you guys know that conservatives are completely okay with women behaving like whores when they think that those women are conservative? And for some weird reason, conservatives have convinced themselves that sorority girls who are doing dancing on the internet are not feminists. Uh-oh. It's already starting. Relax. We'll get to that. Fucking relax. And I'm just like, there are all these posts where these conservative retarded boomers who probably haven't been laid because their wives are fucking ugly. Like, they probably have been laid for years and years and years because their wives are ugly and don't even give it to them anymore. They're lusting after these fucking sorority girls, and they think they're owning the libs on Twitter by posting videos of how, like, whorish the sorority. I don't understand. I'm like, listen, man, I understand I've been in college in a really long time, but like, back when I was in college, these women were feminist whores. These women were feminist. Like, does anyone else remember sorority girls in college being feminist whores? And you think that they're conservative because you like the way they look and you like their boobs and you like the way they shake their ass, even though they're behaving like whores on the internet for social media attention. And I posted this and I said, hey, this, you know what? Let's look on the bright side. Really sets them up for when they try to become a conservative pundit in a couple years, because God knows the only qualification for being a conservative pundit is that if you're a woman, is that you get a push-up bra and you stick your tits out and you shake your ass and you wear the right clothes and you get the right fucking plastic surgery and all these women are more than willing to do that. And conservatives And because I pointed out these women are acting like whores on the internet, conservatives are now saying I'm a jealous liberal. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm a jealous liberal. Yeah, they really think that these women are not feminists. I'm like, oh, you cannot help conservative boomers. You just can't. You just can't. You just can't. That my favorite was this lady. Right here who told me I was jealous because I'm a liberal and then posted this photo, and that's her profile photo. She's trying so hard. She's trying so hard. So anyway, I just think that is like a weird little development, right? That like conservatives are totally fine with women behaving like whores as long as, you know, they think they're conservative, but like, is there any reality in which those sorority girls are conservative? Is there any reality in which those sorority girls are not fucking feminists? I don't even know what to say. Hey, thanks, Chris Baker, for being a member of the channel for 9 months. Today is Sophie Cunningham's 30th birthday. Happy birthday to a real American heroine. She seems like a lovely human being. I appreciate that, bro. Thanks so much for supporting the channel. So, what we're going to do today is we're going to have a little bit of a lighter day because I had like a weird and busy weekend. Like, on the bright side, my weekend was running around with Victor all weekend, which was fucking awesome. Victor and I went to the mountains to go hiking. And then yesterday we went to like a hole in the wall barbecue place. And then we went to walk around Hampton Beach, which Hampton Beach in New Hampshire is like the cheesy Jersey Shore boardwalk type of deal. And it's just like Hampton Beach has not changed in 30 fucking years. And I love that it hasn't changed in 30 years. It's exactly the same as it was when I was a kid. And so like we just like we're like Victor and I were like gallivanting around all over all weekend, and that was actually pretty awesome. Naruto, thank you so much for the super chat. Tim Pool, one of the biggest right-wing influencers, being described as moderate by Jubilee is laughable to me. Well, I guess we'll see, Naruto. Actually, you know what? Like, I am curious about this. And this is going to be the main content that we watch today. If I know how to share my screen. There it is. Boom. This is going to end up being like the main focus. Oh my God, my StreamYard's all messed up now. My StreamYard is all messed up. Hang on. Why is my StreamYard so messed up, StreamYard? What the fuck? There we go. Oh, you know, good enough for the moment. So the main content of what we're going to watch today is going to be this Tim Pool Jubilee episode. Because like, okay, so for a couple of reasons. One, yeah, a professional, you know, no, it's Monday. Don't worry about it, okay? I'm a professional streamer on the internet. I got this. You fucking relax. Okay? One, the first reason I want to watch this is that I have not listened to Tim Pool in, I don't know, man. I have not. It's true. StreamYard is black. It's so fucking true. I have not listened to Tim Pool in years. I don't think. I cannot remember the last time I actually sat down and listened to an episode of this guy's show or any interview that this guy did, mostly because I find him to be completely boring. I find him to be completely unhinged from reality. I think that he made a lot of money for a long time saying things that people wanted to hear. I think he got very comfortable saying the things that people wanted to hear, and he's been riding that gravy train ever since. And you know what? Listen, there's a lot of people that Tim Pool is like your entry point to like the very first red pill that you'll take, because like there are a lot of fucking red pills, man. There are a lot of fucking red pills. For a lot of people, Tim Pool is like entry point number one for red pill number one, not knowing that there are 15 or 20 more red pills that you're going to take after you take the first one. It just keeps going. They just keep feeding. It's like a fucking drug addict and their dealer. They just keep feeding you red pills over and over and over and over and over again until you lose your mind and you think that everything is a conspiracy theory. But regardless of whether I like it or not, Tim Pool is very influential. He does have a big audience. And I do kind of want to hear what his positions on things are now. Also, it has been going a little bit viral today that Tim Pool stormed off the set because someone accused him of rage baiting and like all this stuff. And so I want to see what actually happened. And I want to see how much was that taken out of context. Was it justified for him to do that? Or was Tim Pool just being a massive fucking pussy. Both could be true. In fact, both could be true. He could have been justified, and then he also could have been a massive fucking pussy. No, this is not correct. I actually ran Tim Pool's astrology chart back in the day. Fun fact, right when I first got famous on the internet, I was DMing with Lydia when she was fucking him. And Lydia, when she was fucking him, gave me his birthday. And so I actually ran his astrology chart like 6 fucking years ago or something. Tim Pool is a Pisces sun, Pisces moon, it's either Leo or Virgo. I would have to go back into my DMs. I actually DM'd with Tim about this. I'm pretty sure it was Virgo, but I thought he was a Leo. It was either that he's a Virgo rising and I thought he was a Leo, or he's a Leo rising and I thought he was a Virgo. It was one of those two. Anyway, so Tim is a double Pisces, which, of course makes him a double pain in the ass. I really should have named this Pisces Day. Yeah, it does. Tim Pool is a Pisces sun and a Pisces moon. Okay? Maybe, you know what? Maybe I'm pretty sure it was Leo, and I think he's a Leo rising. You want to know why? Because he looks like a Leo. So I think he was a Leo rising, Pisces sun, Pisces moon. I would have to go back and look specifically. But yeah, it's either Leo or Virgo. It's one of those two. And I'm like 75% sure it's Leo. I can go back and look another time if I'm interested to do that. So I want to watch what happened in this debate. And also, I think we just need to face reality that, like, this is a reality that I have not wanted to confront on the internet. Does Leo tend to clash? No, actually, like, I'm an Aries sun and a Leo moon. Aries and Leo can get along quite well. Nick Fuentes is a Leo. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Nick Fuentes is a Leo. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, so like Aries and Leo can get along just fine because we're both fiery, essentially. Fire signs tend to get along well together. So, but Aries and Pisces do not get along. The sign after a sign is a rebuttal to the previous sign. So, like, with Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. The sign that comes after the sign is a rebuttal to the sign. So Aries is a rebuttal to Pisces. Taurus is a rebuttal to Aries. So no, like, Aries and Pisces tend to not get along. You want to know why? Because those fucking fishes try to put out our fucking fire. Like, F that. Those pussy whip little fucking fishes try to put out our fire, and that's not cool because Pisces is water sign, obviously. Anyway, we're gonna watch this Tim Pool thing because, like, I've kind of had to come to the conclusion that this is simply the type of slop that is most influential to people on the right. And I have not wanted to accept this. I have always wanted to think that people on the internet were smarter than this. But as it turns out, they're not smarter than this. As it turns out, this is the type of fucking slop that is going to be most influential of our political dialogue. It is faking gay. It is fucking faking gay. It is fucking faking gay. Yeah, I totally agree. It is fucking faking gay. And but this is part of what we're up against. And so, like it or not, and I would certainly prefer it not be this way, this is what we have to compete with. This bullshit, just like clickbait, inauthentic, mind-numbingly low IQ, mid-wit at best level fucking slop. It is highly influential. A lot of people are watching it. And we have to have some sense of the perspective that people have if we're going to try to convince them to wake up and hinge into reality about what the left is really doing. Does that make sense to people? It's like, we're not just fighting the GOP that lies to their audience all the time. We're not just fighting conservative media that lies to their audience all the time about what the left is. We are also fighting bullshit like this that is what it is, the media that people are consuming, and so it is dictating how they see the world, and they actually believe that Tim Pool just debated a bunch of fucking communists. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure they're not, actually. Pretty sure they're not. Anyway, but before we get into that, I have something I want to talk about, and we're going to do a little Karlyn point of personal privilege for a while. And most of the reason that we're doing this is that I know it's really going to piss off Big Loser on the other side of the internet. Now, listen. On Saturday, we had this person in the chat pretending to be a bald Pisces retard named BigTech who lives and sees over on the other side of the internet. And I'm going to be honest. I got to be honest. I kind of knew from the beginning this wasn't actually him. One, this is not his YouTube profile. His YouTube profile is a completely different profile. Two, this account was just created on Saturday, probably by someone in his community named Marty. But number three, and three is actually the most important reason I knew this was not him. He was way too fucking nice. And on Saturday, we actually had some playful banter with this account. He was way too fucking nice. And I was like, as this was going on, I was like, there is no fucking way this is actually him. And the reason I knew it wasn't actually him was because up until that point, I had spent all fucking day in my DMs being berated by the real BigTech. Yeah. Duh. No shit. But the thing of it is actually, it was kind of nice, playful banter, wasn't it? Wasn't it just nice? Wasn't it just casual? Wasn't it just something that everyone could enjoy? This was kind of my perspective on it at the time, is I was like, this account is being way too fucking nice. I know it's not him. He's been berating me in my fucking DMs all day. There's like no reality in which he's going to come into the chat on a different fucking account and play nice. But wasn't it just nice to pretend for a second and just be like, hey, maybe we don't have to be at each other's throats on the internet. Maybe we can just engage in banter and just have it be fun. Maybe that's a reality. You should probably give him this account, by the way, because like that's probably not fucking cool that you did that. But like whatever, that's your issue to work out with him. So I spent all day on Saturday getting berated in my DMs by Big Retard over on Kick. Okay? Now here's what I didn't know. On Friday, when I was streaming with Adam and Amalek, he was stream sniping me. I had no idea this was happening until it was all over because I really wasn't paying attention. And he was seething and coping the whole fucking time. And one of the things he did, because he's been seething and coping for months, is he released this voice message from me that makes it sound like I'm obsessed with him, or that's the impression that he's trying to give people. Now, here's what he didn't tell people. I sent him that voice message so fucking long ago when I was still fucking with him. What do I mean by that? Well, let's go back. Does anyone remember a stream I did? Has anyone been around long enough to remember the stream I did a couple years ago? Where I said, I'm going to Chinese water torture his ass. Oh, my name is banned in his chat. That's funny. That makes sense, though. Does anyone remember, one in the chat if you've been around long to remember this, one in the chat if you remember a stream I did like 2 years ago where I said I was going to Chinese water torture his ass? Drip, 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 drip. Yeah, the old heads remember that. Yup. We got some people who remember that. You can go back and find it. You can go back, look at all those ones in the chat. Look at all the people who remember the stream I did a couple years ago where I said I was going to Chinese water torture his ass. The newbies don't remember this. That's okay. If you're here for the Tim Pool content, you guys can come back in like 20 minutes, okay? So I did a stream on the internet saying You guys know how I love to toy with the socialists, where I give the socialists hints about places I'm going to show up and stuff, and I see if they find me. I literally did a stream about how I was going to Chinese water torture his ass by dripping out mind fuckery whenever I wanted to get in his head. Okay? Yeah, see, I won. I won more than I ever expected to win. And truth be told, I probably went a bit too far. I know he saw that stream because he reacted to it on his channel at the time. So I know he saw it. I was not hiding what I was doing. And then every once in a while, I would message him on Discord saying something crazy, but was mostly designed to try to poke at him and to get into his head. Every once in a while, maybe it'd be a written message, maybe it'd be a voice message. But like the driver behind all of it was like, we're gonna see what happens. It was like drip, 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 poke, poke. What's he gonna do? What's he gonna do? How's he gonna react? What's gonna happen next? I'm like a little kid with this stuff. I'm like, what happens if I do this? What happens if I do this? What happens if I do that? Now, I was fully prepared for him to just release everything that I sent him. So I actually didn't really I was very careful with what I did, in that it had a very specific objective for me, but I also didn't truly care if he actually released it, because it was like I was just fucking around. I have to give him credit, because he didn't release any of it for a really long time. He didn't. He actually sat on it, and I was like, you know what? Maybe this is a sign that maybe I'm actually the dick in this situation. Maybe I actually am. But apparently what I did fucked with him so well that it just sat there and festered for months and months and months. Cause this like all happened last year. We're talking about shit that happened last year, literally. And it just sat there and it festered in the middle of his fucking head. And then around, I think it was like November last year, I just got bored. And I was like, all right, I'm out. And I just stopped talking to him. And I have not even spoken to him in months and months and months. It has been complete fucking radio silence from me for months and months and months. And I think we can all maybe acknowledge, if we have a working brain in our head, that I've had a couple other things going on this year. My work has been more relevant than ever. My audience is bigger than ever. I'm making more money than ever. I'm being able to do more undercover shit than ever. I'm organizing a community of volunteers and training them to go undercover. I am now fully acknowledged as the queen of leftist analysis all over the fucking internet. There's no one that even comes close. I've had a couple things going on. It has been a great year. It's fucking great year. My luxury bag collection has expanded exponentially. My sneaker collection is getting very respectable. I've even started to embrace watches, which my husband is thrilled about, because he's always wanted me to embrace watches, and I didn't like watches for a long time. And now 2026 has been a good year so far. Okay. Well, according to Big Retard, I am obsessed with him, and I spend all my time thinking about him, and that is apparently what he thinks I spend all my time doing. And so on his stream on Friday, he played this message from me that I literally sent him because he told me he was in love with me. I have the receipts to back up every single thing that I say. You guys always know I have the receipts to back up every single thing that I say. Here is the reality that he doesn't want you to know. He messaged me flat out saying, I am in love with you. And I immediately responded to him, no, you're not. And then he said, Yes, I am. And I said, no, you're fucking not. And that was the back and forth that we had. But like, here's the thing. I don't ever actually think he was in love with me. I think he was trying to get me to melt apart. Oh my God, I can't believe you admitted it. I think that that's what he was trying to do. But like, the reality is when he sent me that message, I was basically like, fuck you. No, you're not. Like, this is ridiculous. And then I sat back and I thought about it for like a day. And I was like, what would you say if you were actually the woman he wants you to be? What would you actually say if you were the woman that is swooning that he wants you to be? Because he thinks I'm obsessed with him, he thinks I'm in love with him, like whatever. And he's trying to get me to react in that way. I was like, fine, motherfucker, fine. I'll give you what you want. And so basically what I did, and again, this may have been ill-considered. Perhaps it was not my best decision-making moment of all time. But it was fucking months ago. This was like last fucking year. Basically, I recorded this message to try to plant some shit in his head to fuck with him because I was pissed off that he was trying to fuck with me. And I was like, two can play at this game, asshole. And so I said what I said. And he was so not perturbed at that message that he put it in his back pocket, thought about it for 7 fucking months, and finally just unveiled it yesterday after seething about it and it turning around in his head for months and months and months. So who actually won in this scenario? Who actually won? One in the chat if you think I won by getting him to fester on this fucking message since last fucking year before finally publishing it. One in the chat if you think I won, 2 in the chat if you think he won. I'm actually just curious because, like, listen, man, I can fully admit that sometimes I go too far with the psychological fuckery. Sometimes I may have gone too far. Okay, I may have gone too far. I may have gone too far. I may have gone too far. Okay, I may have gone too far. I may be too good at this. It is a natural skill that I have to be able to needle my way into the center of people's brains and figure out what's going, and just figure out, like, how can I poke you to get you to do what I want? How can I poke you? How can I poke you? How, like, what's going to be the thing that if I just go, it's a natural skill that I was gifted by God. So basically, after that, after I found out that he played the message on his stream, I basically messaged him. And I said, you know, I've always been prepared for you to release everything I ever sent you, right? Because I can simply say I was fucking with you to try to poke you into responding, and I can release the screenshot of you saying you're in love with me, and then we fight again, and then you stop talking again, and if you want to play it, that's fine, but it seems more than a bit boring when no one is going to care regardless. And then I sent him this voice memo because I actually wanted him to hear me say it, not just like reading it. I sent him this voice memo saying, can we just literally like smooth things over? It's literally been fucking months. Like, it's literally been fucking, I haven't even talked to you in months, bro. I literally, can we literally maybe, I'm not saying we need to be best friends. That's sure as shit not going to happen. But can we just play nicely? Can we just maybe stop the bullshit? Can, like, listen, it's been months. I haven't spoken to him in fucking months. I'm already bored with all this. I've already moved on. I didn't think I was planting a nugget in the middle of his brain that was going to fucking fester for months and months and months and months and months. I did it. I doubted my own ability, apparently. And so basically I just said to him, can we just chill? Because we have the same friends in some spaces, and maybe it would be nice if maybe we could be in the same place without trying to kill each other or trying to make things tense for like literally everyone else. I don't know. Dare to dream, dare to dream, dare to dream. And that started a 2-day long meltdown in my DMs that just went on and on and on and on and on. And no, I'm not going to read them all, although I certainly could. I'm just giving you guys a little bit of flavor for how fucking long this went on all fucking weekend long of massive meltdown in my fucking DMs that just keeps going and 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 going. Oh, it's still going. Oh, we're at the end. We're at the end. We're at the end. I just wanted to give people a sense for, like, again, I'm not going to read the DMs. I obviously can if I need to. I have all of them recorded if I need to, because he has a nasty habit of, like, deleting things that he doesn't want people to see. But I just wanted to scroll through all of that just to give you guys a sense of the 2-day fucking epic meltdown that I experienced in my DMs. And, you know, one of the things I've always been very, very curious about regarding him is, like, what is actually the story that he's telling in his head about me? Because this is what we do all the time with the left, right? It doesn't matter what the truth is. What matters is what they believe. People take action based on what they believe. It's not based on what is true, because people can believe things that are just completely untrue. So essentially, what I have surmised from the weekend-long meltdown in my DMs is that even though I haven't spoken to him in months, even though I mention other people on my stream way more often than I mention him, which maybe I've mentioned him, what, half a dozen times in the last, like, this year. I don't even know. I mean, maybe it's a little bit more than that. I don't fucking know, because I don't think about every word that comes out of my mouth. But, like, the only time I've even mentioned him is in my chat is when someone else brings him up and I'm responding to the chat. Yeah, I don't think I really mention him all that often. And I think the people who watch my content know that. I do. I unironically mention Bashar more than I mention him. I mentioned Amalek way more, and I tried to tell him this. So it'll be like, basically the story that he's telling in his head about me is that I'm completely obsessed with him. I am thirsting for him. I am begging him every single time that I say, "Hey, can we just be civil so that we can be in Adam Green's chat without creating tension?" Like, if I literally just say to him, "Listen, we're both friends with Adam Green. I don't think Adam Green should have to choose. Can we just be cool and not keep starting bullshit so that we can literally both be in Adam Green's chat without tension and without anger and without everyone else feeling fucking weird and awkward because they know we're both there and they know we're both gonna fucking fight because you can't control your fucking feelings?" I actually don't think I'm asking too much. I really don't. I don't think I'm asking too much. But apparently, if I say that, I'm thirsting for him, I'm desperately obsessed with him, I'm begging him, I'm doing any fucking number of things, and I'm just like, "Okay, well, fine, I guess we're fighting then, but, like, I lost interest in this a long time ago." And the thing of it is too is, like, I was actually trying to get at, like, what do you actually think is going on? Why are you still just, like, intent on constantly creating bullshit around me when I'm literally not even speaking to you, sir? And essentially, what came out is that He wants to be able to control every single thing that I say. He wants to be able to control how I perceive the situation. Like, literally, he literally told me this. He wants to be able to control and dictate to me how to perceive the situation. And I'm just like, I don't think that's going to happen, because how he wants me to perceive the situation is that I'm desperately obsessed with him. Every time I say, can we just be civil? I'm trying to beg him. I'm thirsting after him. I so desperately want him, all this stuff. And he's like, you have to accept that this is true. And I'm like, I don't think it is, though. I think I was just fucking with you, and I think I just did a really good job. And like, it really reached the point with it where I was trying to be so fucking nice about it. I was trying to be so nice. And I was like in the fucking bathroom at Hampton Beach yesterday. And I'm like, I'm getting these DMs from him on Discord. And I'm like, look, bro, like, the truth is that I was fucking with you. I'm really not obsessed with you. I was literally just fucking with you. And if you are afraid that I'm fucking with you, or excuse me, if you're afraid that I'm obsessed with you, then just know that I'm not. I haven't even talked to you in months. And I was trying to be so nice. I was trying to be like, what you think is going on is not real, Mike. What you think is going on is not fucking real. And he would not accept it. And because he wants me to be obsessed with him for some weird reason. And then there was another day-long fucking meltdown after I tried to be real nice. And let me just get, I need to get like the Cliff Notes version. Let me just see I have a list here of like the points he made to me over berating me and insulting me and all of this stuff. He was trying to make me cry. He was trying to make me melt down. I'm sure he's done this with a million different women in his life, and it's always been successful for him before. If he just insults them and demeans them and says, this is what's really happening, and this is how you want to see the world, this is how you need to see the world, and blah, 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 blah. Like, I'm sure this has been very successful with other women, but like, I'm just not buying into it. I'm just not buying into it at all. So let's see. I said I haven't even spoken to you in like 7 or 8 months. Let me see. He keeps saying that I'm begging for him. I'm thirsty. Like, he says this over and over and over again. You're begging for me. You're thirsty for me. You're obsessed with me. You're obviously obsessed with me. It's obviously true. You're obsessed with me. And I'm like, bro. And I was trying to be like, listen, can we just resolve this and play nicely and stop the bullshit because it creates tension for everyone else? And he refused. And he said that if any community of people accepts me and likes me, like what happened in the CQ spaces with Amalek and Adam and HT and all that, he will distance himself from that community, because if any community accepts me, then he's just going to leave. And I'm like, fucking fine. Like, I truly don't give a fuck. Because part of what created this problem is there were these Twitter spaces going on last year sometime, I think, where Amalek was always in them, and I loved listening to what Amalek was talking about. And so I started going to the CQ spaces because I wanted to listen to Amalek. BigTech was also in the CQ spaces. He was also moderating. And he also was interesting to listen to sometimes when he wasn't being a fucking asshole. But I was there primarily to hang out with Amalek. And then Adam sometimes would come into the spaces, and I liked listening to HT as well because I think HT is funny as hell. And so BigTech apparently thought I was coming around the CQ spaces because of him, when in fact I was coming around because of Amalek, because I liked listening to, because I fucking adore Amalek. Everyone knows it. If I'm obsessed with anyone, it is not fucking BigTech. It is Amalek, and I will admit that, and not in any sort of like, you know, romantic way or anything like that. We're just friends, and that's all it's gonna be because I'm fucking married and I don't really see him like that. But like, one in the chat if you think I'm more obsessed with Amalek than I am with BigTech. 2 in the chat if you think I'm more obsessed with BigTech than I am with Amalek, because everyone who watches my stream knows Amalek comes around here all the time. He has status on the channel. He can say and do whatever the fuck he wants. He comes on streams for hours and hours and hours at a time. Like, and like literally everyone with a working brain knows that I'm far more obsessed with Amalek just based on the fact that he's not an asshole. He's super smart. He's kind. He doesn't fuck around like other people that like do this like dissident right thing where he's evil to all fucking women. It's just cool. It's just cool. It's like very balanced. It's interesting intellectual conversation, and I just like him. Yeah, I agree. This is so fucking stupid. I agree. I agree. So I started hanging around the CQ space because of Amalek. And then I had to figure out a way, how can I mitigate the fact that BigTech is also in these spaces? Because again, at this point, I'm kind of just like, I just literally just want things to be chill. I'm not always the best at smoothing things over, but I literally just wanted things to be smoothed over. I literally just wanted things to, that was all I wanted. That was it. That was all I wanted. And even when I was sending him these messages, fucking with him and doing the Chinese water torture thing, and I admit, again, possibly not my best decision-making moment, but this is what I still left the door open where at any point, he could be like, essentially like, okay, let's just like stop being dicks. Like, honestly, he could have like literally just stopped being an asshole at any fucking point. At any fucking point, he could have just stopped being an asshole. But he didn't want to. And eventually, because I was around the CQ spaces, he ended up basically blowing up his relationship with them and started saying all this crazy shit. And I heard that he said on the stream one time that, like, I don't actually have, I didn't see him say this, but someone told me that he said this, that he said on his stream that he was backing away because of the from the CQ spaces because of me. And I was like, that's the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard, but okay, like, whatever, go away. I truly don't give a fuck. Then Amalek stopped going to the CQ spaces because he got pissed off at them about the Charlie Kirk stuff, and he didn't feel respected by them and all that stuff, and maybe he was right about that. But then Amalek stopped hanging around the CQ spaces, and I stopped hanging around because I was really only there to listen to Amalek and all that good stuff, okay? I bring up this history because I want people to understand just how long this idea has been going on in his head, that I'm only doing things because I'm obsessed with him, when all of the available evidence would suggest otherwise, based on how often Amalek hangs around the stream, how often he comes on. Like, anyway, so the reason I think that he blew up his thing with the CQ spaces is because he was pissed off that I was coming around and I was sometimes participating and stuff like that, and he couldn't fucking handle it. And how fucking stupid is that? I wasn't even doing anything to him. And so now he's saying, anyone accepts you, if anyone's nice to you, I'm going to back away from there, because he's truly convinced that the only reason that I might be friends with Adam Green is to get to him. He's truly convinced the only reason I might be friends with Amalek is to get to him. And I'm just like, okay. Okay, let's see. I repeatedly tried to say, I'm not obsessed with you. I was just fucking you. Not fucking you. God, he fucking wishes. I was just fucking with you because I repeatedly tried to say to him, I was just fucking with you because you were fucking with me. You were trying to do the same thing to me that I was doing to you. I was just being more fucking successful at it. And I said to him repeatedly, I was like, can we just stop fucking fighting? Again, you guys have got to remember, he's now trotting out shit that I sent him last year. Last year. He's making it look like I'm sending it to him now. I sent it to him last fucking year, and I haven't talked to him in like 6 or 7 months or something like that. And I'm like, why are we still fighting? Can we just stop? This is stupid. This is retarded. None of this makes sense. And he's like, you're obviously begging me. You're begging me, Karlyn. You're begging me. You're thirsty for me. You're obsessed with me. You need to accept that you're obsessed with me. I'm just like, bro. And then he tried to demand that I had to accept his version of reality. Like, you just need to accept this is true. And I was like, no, that's not going to happen. And then he said, you can't say anything negative about me on your stream. And I said, I'm pretty sure I'm going to say whatever the fuck I want. Like, can you guys imagine? Can you guys fucking imagine? Like, telling me you will not say this on your stream and having me go, okay, BigTech. Okay. Yeah, you got it. I'm not going to say anything you don't want me to say. It's like, no, asshole, no. This is the internet, sire. This is the fucking internet, sire. And I will say and do whatever the fuck I want. And the reality is, I talk about Amalek more on this stream than I talk about BigTech. I talk about Adam Green on this stream more than I talk about BigTech. I talk about Harrison Smith on this stream more than I talk about BigTech. I talk about Owen Schroyer on this stream more than I talk about BigTech. I talk about the Keno Casino and the quartering more on this stream than I talk about BigTech. I talk about luxury fucking handbags and high-end Chinese knockoffs on this stream more than I fucking talk about BigTech. Literally, if we surveyed the people who actually watch my content, rather than just looking at the clickbait that his community is sending him to try to rile him up, because that's really what's going on. If I mention him, his community and his fucking followers watch all of my streams to get a 30-second clip of me shit-talking him after someone mentions him in my chat. And if I mention him, they clip that one thing and they send it to him. And apparently they've been doing this for months and months and months and months and months. And so in his head, the only things he ever sees me say are about him, because he's not seeing the 6 hours of content that I create every single day where I talk about pretty much every subject on the internet more than I talk about that fucking bald Pisces. Yeah, it's like, there are some people that didn't even know he existed before today. That's how little I talk about him on my stream. But no, he demands that I'm going to accept that I'm obsessed with him and everything I do is for him. Everything I think about is for him. And that's all I ever talk about on my streams is him. And it's just like, no. Well, and don't think this hasn't crossed my mind. Don't think this hasn't crossed my mind. You know, honestly. So basically, I told him that if you don't want me to say things that you don't like on my stream, maybe try not being an asshole. Maybe we could try this new thing, BigTech, where you stop being an asshole and I stop saying negative things about you because you have stopped doing negative things. You're begging me. You're begging me. You're thirsty. You're obviously obsessed with me. It's like, aw, man. So literally, in his land, there is nothing that I can do to smooth this over with him ever. Any space that he goes into that I'm in, he will immediately start creating problems just because I'm there. He won't be a part of any community that would have me as a member. I mean, it's just like, that's so fucking retarded. I cannot even deal with it. It's like, be a fucking adult. He wants to control how I see the world. He wants me to believe that I'm obsessed with him. He wants me to believe that I am begging him. He wants me to cry. He wants me to be upset. He wants me, oh, Algoth is here. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Look at that. This was my entire fucking weekend. Okay? So the reason I bring all this up is because there is a non-zero chance that he's going to continue having a massive meltdown about me over on his stream. And as that happens, he's probably going to release things that I sent when I was fucking with him from last fucking year. If you guys hear any weird shit, just remember, this is actually what happened. And if you don't believe that I said I was going to Chinese water torture his ass and that I actually did it, then go back and find the stream where I literally talked about doing that in public. So if you guys hear anything weird on the internet about me being obsessed with him, just know that's his delusional fantasy that he is trying to reinforce at every juncture. I tried to be so nice about it. I tried to say, listen, I'm hearing that you're freaked out that I'm obsessed with you, but you should know I'm not obsessed with you. And I was just fucking with you. And I would like to stop fighting. And I think that there's no reason for there to be constant bullshit and back and forth in like Adam Green's chat or something because you're pissed off. Why can't we just be cool? I didn't ask to be friends. I just said, why can't we just, you're begging me. You're begging me. You're obsessed with me. You gay retarded faggot. You're obsessed with me. He's like insulting me over and over and over again because he's trying to make me cry. So that's really all I have to say about it. If anyone hears anything weird, that's where it's coming from. And mostly, I just think the whole thing is very sad. Mostly, I just think the whole thing is very sad because all of this is from the fact that he made the decision to ground himself to the most toxic possible energy on the internet. Karlyn, how do you know he's grounding himself to the most toxic possible energy on the internet? He told me what he was doing years ago. He told me that. That's not from my words. That's from his words. He told me years ago he was grounding himself to base energy because of reasons that I'm not going to go into right now. I could if I wanted to. I still remember because I don't quite have like a photographic memory, but I have a really good memory. He told me he was grounding himself to like base energy, which means like heavy, toxic, angry energy. And then he did it. And you know what? Like, I think that the saddest thing, and I said this to him and I would say it again, and I'm going to say it publicly because I don't really give a fuck. Like, the saddest thing is that there is a truly beautiful, highly spiritualized person inside him somewhere. He has been in highly spiritualized communities. Karlyn, how do you know that? He told me that years ago. There is a beautiful, highly spiritualized person in there that has been completely devoured by whatever base toxic energy he has decided to make a part of his identity for years and years and years and years and years. The person that I met years ago, not the same asshole that exists today. Not by any stretch. And I think it's really sad. I think it's really sad. I think that it's really sad because he used to teach his audience on his streams such beautiful things. And that doesn't happen anymore. See, I have mixed feelings about taking him out of the intro because it's so funny. I have mixed feelings about this because on one hand, I think you're right. But on the other hand, it's so funny. And I love that it follows up with Nick Fuentes calling him a retard. It's like you have him saying something retarded, and then Nick comes in and he says, "Can we grow up and stop being retarded?" And I've always kind of thought about Nick basically saying that to be big tech. Can we grow the fuck up and stop being retarded? And I'm like, that's exactly what I'm saying to him. Can we grow the fuck up and stop being retarded? Can we do that? So I have mixed feelings about it. I do. But the reason I'm not showing the DMs and doing a big whole show and tell, honestly, is first of all, I don't want to spend that amount of time on this. He was DMing me all fucking weekend. Secondly, I just really think the whole thing is sad. And I don't think there's any reason for us to be fighting. I'm not suggesting that we be friends. Obviously, that's not going to happen, and that's fine. But this is my position on the whole thing. I have been trying to just chill the fuck out with pretty much everyone for the last, like, all this year. Have you guys seen me getting any fights with people? Now, I will defend myself when I need to defend myself. I will always fucking defend myself. You will never tell me don't defend yourself when someone is attacking you. I will always fucking defend myself. But if you guys see me out there provoking fights with people that are not about intellectual issues like the leftist stuff, I might say Andy knows a lying fucking grifter, and then I'll back it up by saying he's lying about X, Y, B, and Z about the left. That's an intellectual disagreement. If Andy No actually has the chops that Andy No claims to have, he should be able to have an intellectual disagreement with anyone and debate his side, but he can't because he's a lying grifter. But in terms of just me going out and picking fights with anyone, have you guys seen me doing that with anyone? Really? No, you haven't. Because I just don't give a fuck anymore. I'm highly focused on what I'm doing. I'm very successful at what I'm doing. I'm the best at it on the fucking internet. I don't have anything to prove to anyone. I have paid my fucking dues. I've gone through the hazing. I don't have to prove myself to any single fucking person. So in my ideal world, we just maybe stop fighting. But obviously he doesn't want that because he needs to believe that I'm fucking obsessed with him because that is the story that he wants to tell. So if you hear any weird shit about me coming from that side of the internet, that's what's going on. And I just want to be very clear about that. And I wanted to preempt whatever the fuck he's going to do. And the thing of it is you want to know the real reason I'm doing it? Because he's not going to like this. He's really not going to like that I put his name in the title of the stream so that anyone can search it. He's really not going to like that I put his gay-ass fucking cartoon on the thumbnail. And he's not going to like that he couldn't control me saying whatever the fuck I want on my stream, which I'm pretty sure is a right that I've earned by walking through basically fire over the last several fucking years. So, that's what's going on. That's it. That's it. That's it. You guys want to watch Tim Pool? Who wants to watch Tim Pool? Who's here to watch Tim Pool? Let's watch Tim Pool. All right, guys, we're going to watch the Tim Pool Jubilee episode. We're going to see what happened. There it is. And, yeah, hopefully no more drama. Guys, just, if you're going to be in the chat, just chill out. Yo, we got it. Oh, yeah. Hey, yo, I fucking tried to tell you. I tried to fucking tell you. Okay. Tried to tell you. Okay. Is that actually Amalek, though? Is that actually Amalek, or is that an imposter? I feel, isn't Amalek modded? Am I crazy? Hang on. Is that actually Amalek? Hang on. Is that actually Amalek, or is that an imposter? I can't tell. No, joined 5 minutes ago. Oh, no, not Amalek. Oh, no. Bye, Amalek imposter. Bye, Amalek imposter. Go away. Bye, Amalek imposter. Not gonna... I don't care if people impersonate Big Retard in the chat. I'm not going to allow people to impersonate Amalek and get him in trouble for shit. That's not going to fucking happen. Okay, let's dig into the Tim Pool episode. Guys, if you want to hang out in the chat today, we're going to have a little bit of a lighter day. We're going to watch progressive slop content or normie slop content or whatever the fuck. And just don't be a dick. No whining in the chat. Just relax. Enjoy. Don't be a dick. It's not that hard.
You have a lot of politicians and Democrats.
Oh, wait, look at that. Don't have my sound set up correctly. Look at that. Don't have my sound set up right. Take two.
Behind authoritarian practices during COVID, I'm not going to support those individuals.
So, but the authoritarian practices today, you're willing to look past.
Some of them, yes.
Come on, man.
The mainstream political left commits more violence than the mainstream political right.
None of what you're saying makes any sense. It sounds like you're honestly grifting a lot.
You can say that
Let me ask you a
civil
question.
war every fucking year and it doesn't happen. And
I never said there was.
It just hasn't happened yet.
You want me to get you a soapbox?
It's really
I can leave.
easy.
You want me
It's
to
really
go?
easy to
You want me
do
leave?
what you do.
Want me to
It's really easy to do what you do.
Is the United States tracking towards civil war, or is America more united than it seems? Hi, everyone. I'm Paris Rose, and I'll be filling in for John today. From Jubilee Media, this is
Black Girl
Surrounded,
Magic,
where one brave soul faces a room full of disagreeers. Today, we're debating which political party is more violent. Is authoritarian?
I mean, like the fact that Tim had to do a reaction video to, like, let's just think about this for a second. Tim Pool had to do a reaction video to Tim Pool. Tim Pool had to do a reaction video to himself. That tells you his performance may not have been all that good.
Authoritarianism on the rise in America, and have both parties abandoned their oath to the Constitution. I'm here with our featured guest, moderate political commentator, Tim Pool.
Hi, I'm Tim Pool. I'm the host of Timcast IRL, and today I'm surrounded by progressives. My first surrounded claim is that the mainstream left commits more violence than the mainstream right.
If you'd like to be the first debater, get to the chair in 3, 2, 1.
Sammy,
how's it going? Hey.
Great to meet you, buddy. How you doing?
Pretty good, pretty good.
There seems to be like a broader implication with your prompt that there's this domestic threat from mainstream left politicians. Like, do you really think Hillary Clinton's like leading the Vanguard Revolution Party? Like,
no.
What is your take?
When you look at the violence that we do see, it's from I describe it as from blunt to acute, which is with the fringe extreme right, you'll see extreme mass shootings. You'll see, someone will show up and they'll unload on people, things like that. On the left, though, you'll see riots, vandalism that you don't see from the right.
I totally agree. Yeah,
the point I'm making is that when you break down the ideology that motivates individuals that commit political violence, there is more often an overlap between what the Democratic Party espouses ideologically and what we see in street level violence, as well as maybe assassinations.
What is it?
What the Republicans would espouse?
I mean, I couldn't disagree more. What ideologies that the Democratic Party is promoting that leads to these types of violence? Anytime you see an act of violence that's typically attributed to the left, it is immediately condemned by every Democrat politician.
Indeed.
You couldn't point to one that actually endorses that. Or you have somebody like Donald Trump, who's literally the president of the United States, saying that we should call for the death of congressional members who are fulfilling their civic duty and saying, hey, maybe you shouldn't fulfill illegal orders if you're in the military. And Donald Trump's asking for them to be put to death. How is that not inciting to violence?
No, that's absolutely terrifying. I completely disagree with that. My point more so is that when you see, say, the George Floyd or the BLM riots, you end up with Biden and Kamala themselves promoting fundraisers for those accused of committing these crimes. During
which crimes could you point to?
So in Minnesota, you had there was a firefighter who opened a sports bar. It was burned down. In fact, when the local news went to interview him about his dream bar being burnt to the ground, it was ransacked. I don't think it was burned to the ground. They while they're filming the story, there were people looting a safe and stealing it.
Well, I think that there's absolutely a big difference between a lot of the private buildings or private enterprises that were targeted versus like public institutions like the police precinct. Like, you're somebody who, I've seen the iconography on your show. You're a big patriotic guy. You love 1776, right? That wasn't the most peaceful way that we had, criticizing our government or saying that tyranny shouldn't exist.
How long was the Revolutionary War
going
on before they signed the Declaration?
I will say that the police precincts, the same people who committed a brutal murder using state violence in order to justify that, I think we can understand why people would rightfully be mad without any accountability. Which political party is in control
of the police department in Minneapolis?
That is not the central. First of all, we're talking about the mainstream political left. Which politicians are endorsing that type of behavior?
Never said politicians were endorsing it.
Then what's the mainstream left?
So you have activists whose ideology aligns with politicians who are
You'd say that those
votes.
activists identify with the Democratic Party, the
No,
ones that
I
are
would say
committing
that the
violence.
Democratic Party
Because let me tell you, the leftists that you could talk to, not the biggest fans of the Democratic Party.
In favor of Black Lives Matter?
I would say, yeah. I'd say even most moderates. I'd say actual moderates, not right-leaning conservatives who claim to be moderates.
Were the riots
usually those people also agree that police violence is something that should be discouraged.
Were the riots Black Lives Matter motivated?
They were motivated.
By Black Lives Matter. So that ideology is espoused by...
No,
so
my point is Black Lives Matter is not encouraging violence. Black
Lives Matter ideology is not spouted by the Democratic Party, you retard.
Matter is recognizing systemic inequality.
Never said they
were. Abolish the police is what Black Lives Matter stands for. That is about abolishing the fucking police. The Democratic Party does not believe in abolishing the police.
We're telling people to go be violent. I'm saying that there are violent individuals. And with the riots, a lot of them, which you've seen.
Can you tell me
how
who
about this?
Tell me who Chris Ray is. Do you know who Chris Ray is?
Explain it to me.
Well, you have a show talking about politics every day. I would think that you know. But Chris Ray was the former...
Let's not do this. If you have a point to make, let's make a point. Let's not try and play these games.
So Chris Ray was the former FBI director under Donald Trump's first term. Yep. He said that he even agreed with the findings from both the congressional research session that right-wing violence is way more proliferate in this country than left-wing violence.
That's not meaningful to a voter. Let me explain. The Republican Party rejects neo-Nazism, correct?
No, Donald Trump invited Nick Fuentes to have dinner with him, with Kanye West.
So tell me one politician who went out and campaigned for the neo-Nazi vote.
I'm blanking on his name, but Gozar in
is that a mainstream
Arizona
view in this country?
Well, we could talk about Gozar. We could talk about Matt Gaetz. We could talk about
Matt Gaetz is not endorsing neo-Nazism, and Donald Trump
said, "Are you kidding me?
Nazis should be condemned entirely."
No, he is literally partnering with the America First movement. He was
America First and neo-Nazism are totally different,
bro. So you don't think do you think Nick Fuentes is a neo-Nazi? I forgot you've had him on.
So you know what? I had this kid, not for this show, but for a different show. I had some kid reach out to me and say, Karlyn, do you want to debate 10 communists? And I was like, no, not really. I was like, I had some kid reach out to me and offer to like set up a debate between me and 10 communists to like debate about whether or not they should be communists or some such shit. And he's like, do you want to do that debate show? And I was like, no, I don't. And the reason is not because I don't think that I could completely hold my own in such a debate. I absolutely think I could. But like, you have to understand, when you're talking to people on the left, we live in completely different fucking realities. And it's like, I feel like for me, debating communists would be like an exercise in just like constantly being gaslit by people who are not actually capable of understanding the things I'm saying because of the amount of brainwashing that they have been going through their entire lives. Because that's what's gone on. And people don't want to like think about it like that, fine. But like the fact is that the reason that there are so many people on the left today is because they have been brainwashed into it their entire fucking lives. And I have talked to enough communists to know that like they are not actually capable of seeing the content that I have and doing so in an intellectually honest way. So for me, it would be like banging my head against the wall. Like, do you want to debate with communists and teach them not to be communists? No, I can't unindoctrinate people from a cult. I cannot drag people out of a cult that they are choosing to be a part of. I can't do that. So no, I don't want to. No.
Your show. Oh my God, I literally forget.
I wouldn't describe Nick Fuentes as a neo-Nazi.
You don't think that Nick Fuentes celebrating Adolf Hitler is not neo-Nazi adjacent?
I think you have to be very specific on what your terms are. And so when you go to an American voter and say something like...
This is our moderate, by the way, everybody. This is our moderate.
Indeed.
Keep going.
So when you go to a regular American and ask them what is meaningful to them in terms of an election, you don't have Democrats or Republicans endorsing violence. But you also don't have... Charlie Kirk's a good example. He threw out Nick Fuentes. He threw out white identitarians, white nationalists from his events. They were not welcome. That's mainstream. You don't have riots coming from the Republican Party and the right, although you do have January 6th and things like that. When you take a look at the shootings of the Tesla facilities, the execution of Aaron Danielson, the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and one of the attempted assassinations on Donald Trump, not the Pennsylvania one.
Exactly right. This is actually a really great analogy. It's like, Karlyn, why don't you want to debate 10 communists? That's like asking me, Karlyn, do you want to debate 10 French-only speaking people who don't speak English? No, I don't. No, I only want to debate people who speak in English, because if I'm debating people who are not speaking English, it's like this, and it's like there's no productive conversation to be had. That's essentially what you're asking me to do when you're asking me to debate 10 communists. You're asking me to debate 10 people who do not speak the language that I speak at all.
You can see the underlying ideologies overlap with the Democratic Party. When you take a look at like Nick Fuentes, he's opposed to the Republican Party. He's been actively endorsing Democrats right now.
He's been saying that the Republican Party is too left for him. It's not that he's opposed to the Republican Party in principle.
This is literally my point.
No,
Nick Fuentes comes out and says, do not vote for Trump. The mainstream Republican Party is at odds with these people.
No, again, if you're looking at all of the empirical data, the violence is way more on the right.
But
so
that's not
you can
the
say
claim.
what your feelings are. You
That's
can
not
say
my
that
feeling nor the claim.
No,
it is not meaningful to a voter to say we don't like neo-Nazis and white supremacists, because the
it's
Republican Party
to say,
is not saying they want a
to
white
say,
America.
let's be objective of where the violence is coming from, and if it's more substantially coming from the right, that is a problem that needs to be tackled.
It's not coming from Charlie Kirk.
Okay, we're not talking about Charlie Kirk. We're talking about the overall ideologies.
In fact, we're not.
So you're telling
That's
me,
not my claim.
You're telling me that the prioritization of hierarchies, both ethnic, both cultural, that is not a dangerous ideology. But something like BLM that says, hey, maybe we should take back police violence. Maybe we should have accountability for people who are in charge of certain aspects of our nation, committing violence on citizens. Those are absolutely completely different ideologies. And the fact that you're saying it is more motivating for violence, that the left wing is encouraging people to take those that are committing violence accountable.
In the last 10 years, there have been over 465 incidents of left-motivated political violence that aligns with the Democratic Party, and there's been one on the Republican side, which is January 6th, which admittedly is particularly egregious. January 6th was, that's why we talk about blunt versus
egregious.
Acute. Now, the problem is, I already know what all you're going to say. You're going to cite FBI stats and Cato, but it's not meaningful to me or anybody.
This is why Tim Pool, like, I don't know why people on the right embrace Tim Pool when Tim Pool's like, January 6th was particularly egregious. I'm like, bro, come on.
To tell me why white supremacists are violent, because I don't like white supremacists, nor will I vote for them. And more importantly, you bring up Nick Fuentes. He is not aligned with Republicans, and he's advocated against them.
I think for somebody
Republicans don't like them.
I think for somebody who has a political show where you talk about this stuff every day, you are completely misreading the conversation when you're saying that those that are engaged in like civil disobedience are like Democrat voters. You're telling me that those people are canvassing for Democratic politicians,
never said that.
which is
I'm
absolutely
actually,
not true.
Absolutely in favor of canvassing. I'm in favor of protesting.
I'm not saying that you're. I'm not saying that you're against that. But I'm saying
don't try and frame my argument like I'm upset with protests, because I've defended Black Lives Matter blocking streets. I've defended left-aligned progressive groups like anti-capitalist groups blocking streets and environmental groups. I stand with civil disobedience, and I've defended them every single time. If you want to block a road, there's
what is it that you're saying is more violent on the left? You mentioned Black Lives Matter. You mentioned these protests.
Let's talk about the Tesla facilities being unloaded upon or shot up, right? These are motivated by an ideology that you will hear from Elizabeth Warren. Now, of course, she's not telling people to shoot anybody, but she is coming out saying Elon Musk is a dangerous threat to this country. And then you end up with someone going and pulling a rifle up and shooting up a Tesla.
When you understand that the right always says, politicians are not responsible for individual actions. Elizabeth Warren saying, hey, maybe we should have the same sort of economic policies they have in Scandinavia.
Why was
that is not her encouraging, go shoot up a Tesla facility.
Why was
Donald Trump saying, let's hang the people who encourage those in the military to actually fulfill their duties. That is completely.
My claim is not that the right is completely
innocent. He's the leader of the Republican Party, my dude.
And
to say that these are equivocal at all is completely
false.
I
condemn 100% what Donald Trump said, calling for the death of those politicians.
We have to move on.
Great to meet you, Tim.
Likewise.
If you'd like to be the next debater, get to the chair in 3, 2, 1.
Hello.
Hi.
What I find really interesting is the whole premise of like the Occupy Wall Street movement was to protest, right?
Indeed.
It was specifically geared towards making sure that the general public was understanding the situation at the time, which had a lot to do with anti-capitalist motives, right?
Yes.
And so when we're talking about who's more violent than who, we have to be very specific that the violence that is recorded in the data is not ideological violence. It's not this like rhetoric. It has to be evidentiary. So if you're going to say like, oh, Black Lives Matter and any leftists that are associated with that are automatically violent. That's just not the case.
I didn't say that.
But that's what you're implying.
No, I'm implying that when you have riots in this country, overwhelmingly, the underlying ideology aligns with the mainstream left ideology of this country.
But what you're saying in your prompt that you wrote is that the left is more violent than the right.
The mainstream political left commits more violence than the mainstream political right.
Right, the mainstream. And
Indeed.
what I'm trying to tell you is that the data is not showing that that is the actual evidence. If you're talking, no, it doesn't.
It does. My team has put together over 10 years,
75 to 80% of violence, actual violence that is being tracked as domestic terrorism comes from the right. It's white supremacist groups.
And white supremacists are not in a large political party getting voted for.
Yes, they are. The Republican Party is very largely right wing. It is very far right.
But they're not white supremacists, nor are the Americans voting for Republican Party because they want white supremacy.
What do you think "Make America Great Again" means?
I think it means making the economy improve. I think it means building our cultural institutions. Well,
according to what time? According to what time? I'll give you that.
Probably the 80s, because Trump's an old man.
I
would say the 90s.
Seriously doubt he meant the
great.
80s. He's much older than the 80s.
Well, your interpretation of Donald Trump's opinions is separate from when we see a riot, what is motivating the riot? When
his opinions lead his policies, don't they?
Indeed, and no one here is making the claim that Donald Trump is innocent, nor does he not have individuals who
but you're attempting to make a claim that his type of ideology that leads his policy is not nearly as violent as the left,
how many riots have there been?
Largely anti-capitalist, which is largely anti-fascist. None of what you're saying makes any sense. It sounds like you're honestly grifting a lot.
How many Republican riots have there been?
I don't know the exact number.
Maybe one in
but what
January
are you classifying as a riot? What? Because if you're conflating protesting with rioting, that's a very different thing.
No, we're talking specifically about people ransacking Tesla facilities, vehicles, charging stations.
You're so obsessed with the Tesla thing. Why don't we actually talk about?
I think it might be because someone took a rifle and started shooting up a building. I don't know if Musk is like investing in your company or something, but let's like remove the Tesla out of it. That has nothing to do with what your actual prompt is saying. No, that's actually what my claim is.
No, it sounds a lot like.
Well, then you're arguing something else.
No, you're arguing something else because
I am arguing something else from you.
Somebody who was doing really important work in Occupy Wall Street to then grifting all the way to defending far-right people. That's crazy.
What was the important work?
What important work?
You said I was doing
in terms of Occupy Wall Street.
Yes.
I think, in terms of that movement, I thought it was it was one of the first times in our generation that we were able to see an actual organization against capitalism.
Can I ask you how old you are?
No, you cannot ask me how old
Were you politically active during Occupy Wall Street?
Yes, I was.
Did you follow the news about me during Occupy Wall Street?
Not specifically.
And the news was that Occupy denounced the violence. I had filmed leftists deflating police tires who physically attacked me. And I was attacked by a masked individual smacking my camera out of his hand. Occupy Wall Street.
So this is a personal vendetta for you.
Then gave me
a single person
if you're getting emotional about this and you don't want to have an argument, that's fine.
Do I look emotional, guys?
You do, because you don't know what happened during Occupy, and your argument is off because you don't.
This honestly sounds like you have a personal vendetta from your history that has absolutely nothing with what your actual prompt is, which is around far-right people being much more violent than the left.
We have to pause. Love the passion, but pause. All right. If you'd like to be the next debater, please get to the chair in 3, 2, 1.
You got it. Nice to meet you.
Whoa.
Good. I think we should just get to the heart of it. Donald Trump is a fascist. He has Nazis in his administration. His entire messaging was resonating with Nazis from the very beginning. Donald Trump.
Then why didn't the far right fucking vote for him?
When rallying for 2024, had a massive rally in Madison Square Garden. What was the significance of that rally?
You tell me.
Yeah, it's the same place, same date as the Nazis in the 1940s. Literally. Donald Trump
literally,
said that immigrants
Taylor
are
Swift
poisoning the blood of America.
Literally, Taylor Swift had her wedding in Madison Square Garden, where literally the Nazis had a rally 60 fucking years ago or whenever the fuck, and therefore Taylor Swift is literally a Nazi. The New York Knicks are also literally Nazis. Anyone who has ever had an event or attended an event in Madison Square Garden is literally a Nazi.
In their environment. Who also said that?
You tell me.
Hitler.
Hitler.
Literally.
Lightning bolt!
Donald Trump has openly said things as dog whistles. So you may say that it's not mainstream, but the entire ideology of the right speaks to those people.
Let me ask you, what do you mean by fascist?
Far right, authoritarian, ultra nationalistic, 14 tenets of fascism, all that.
But there's a specific definition of fascist. Do you just mean that he's an authoritarian?
No, I mean that he meets all 14 tenets of fascism.
Which is what?
You want to go through all 14 points?
I don't. I'm trying to understand your argument. But so my point largely is we see people say Trump is a fascist, but there's, if you go to an academic and you look at fascism, say Italy, there's a common argument that you have the merger of corporation and state as the defining element of what fascism is. There's
different forms of fascism. Right.
Well, and that's the point. That's why
the actual premise is the authoritarian. Donald Trump is absolutely a fascist. He's like I said, he has Nazis in his administration. I think we're shifting. Pete Hegseth.
How is Hegseth?
He literally has a proud Nazi tattoo on his chest.
He does.
Stephen Miller is absolutely a Nazi.
Stephen Miller does not have a Nazi tattoo on his chest. No, he does not. He has a Catholic cross on his chest.
Okay. All right. Cool.
I mean, guys, look, I went to Catholic school when I was little. I left in fifth grade. So Pete Hegseth is not a Nazi.
Yeah, okay, cool. Question for you. When Donald Trump and his administration specifically actually implement policies that go at the heart of what Nazis want, targeting,
which is what?
The first group of people they target was the transgender community. Same things in Nazi. The actual Nazis specifically targeted people that weren't like them. There's been a persistent and consistent attack on undocumented immigrants, Black people, women, anyone that's not a straight white male in America.
My principal claim is not that Donald Trump is innocent, nor perfect, nor good. My claim is that when you look at street level violence, domestic terror, et cetera, you'll find more violence coming from the mainstream left as opposed to the mainstream right.
Sure.
I do think it's fair to point out white supremacists are violent. They do evil and horrible things.
Yeah, I wanted to get
and
to that.
We all condemn them.
The white supremacists are a part of the mainstream right.
But they're not.
They literally are.
There's no circumstance where you can go on TV.
Thank you. You can return to your seat. You've been voted out.
Nice meeting you.
Yeah, Milo, I think this is an excellent point. Every time I watch Jubilee, all I see is the failure of the entire public education system and why public schools should be abolished. And this is why I will not go on an internet debate show and debate 10 communists. Because inevitably, if I ended up, again, I know I keep coming back to this, if I ended up on some internet debate show debating 10 fucking communists, they would all be like young. They'd all be like young fucking leftists that are trying to become social media influencers. Can you guys fucking imagine a reality in which I debate 10 young leftist social media people? Because that's who's on these debate shows, right? It's people who want to get famous on social media. I don't give a flying fuck about being famous on social media, but like I would be literally surrounded by 10 leftists who are trying to get famous. Can you guys imagine that? I don't think that would go well. I just don't think that would go well at all.
If you'd like to be the next debater, please get to the chair in 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, exactly.
That was an easy grab. You're right there.
So the first thing I'll say is I think it's a bit disingenuous to characterize all of the property damage committed during BLM as left-wing violence, because there are going to be rogue opportunists during the biggest civil rights protests in American history. That's first and foremost. The second thing I would like to say is I don't think it makes sense to confine political violence strictly in the context of individuals acting with political motive violently. I think it ignores institutional violence. Theoretically, you could say the 1960s civil rights movement was more violent than the counter-protesters, but obviously the institutional violence of segregation.
I completely agree.
Right. So, so what I would say is that the Republican Party is, and the mainstream political right is far more violent because they support ICE ripping and separating families from one another, even from people who have no criminal background. ICE deaths under ICE custody has skyrocketed, even as a matter of war abroad, etc. But
domestic, I'd love to talk the war stuff. I'm a big foreign policy guy, but domestically, did this not happen during Barack Obama's administration?
It did, but not to the same extent.
Agreed.
And Barack Obama was criticized for it by who? The political left.
Agreed.
Right.
So my point is not to say again that there's no violence on the right, and I think the institutional argument is actually a good one. However, my view largely is when you look at Occupy Wall Street, for which I was there and I watched police instigate fights, or when I was on the ground during the protests on West Florissant Avenue, and I saw police throw a flashbang grenade at protesters who were not doing anything violent. The issue is these police are under Democrat administration still, where their chiefs are often appointed by Democrat politicians. So again, I understand the left and progressives.
That to me is also a little disingenuous, because it's not as though the police, as a matter of its institution, is a left-wing institution.
No, it's
in fact, usually the police are protecting and on the other side of left-wing protesters.
If you want to make the argument that ICE under Trump, I'll make the argument of police under the Democrats.
Sir, well, I don't know. Well,
which is it? Does law enforcement defer to their politics?
Another excellent question, Milo. How many times are we going to have to watch Tim Pool totally miss all the far left language and show he has zero idea what they're really saying and what the far left is actually about? If anyone should know what the far left is about, it's Tim fucking Pool. Except in the 15 years he's been doing this, he has learned almost nothing about the far left, and it's sad.
Politicians or not?
It depends. Because ICE is an executive agency, they do.
And the police department in Minneapolis is under the Democrats, yes.
Right,
and we all agree that there's problems there.
But they're criticized and often on the other end of left-wing protesters. So, for instance, the protests against ICE here in Los Angeles, it's usually against left-wing. So, what is it? Left-on-left violence? Is that what you're claiming?
Sometimes, yes, absolutely.
You think police protesting against or committing violence against left-wing protesters? It's left-on-left violence, really?
Yes.
I think that's ridiculous and absurd.
The police who live in these cities tend to be more moderate, but they're not hard conservatives.
But is the institution is policing as an institution, particularly a left-wing institution
in New York? Well, I define a left-wing institution.
Exactly.
What I would say is Democrat politicians are the ones appointing these police chiefs and these administrations who are enacting these policies.
But are they?
So when you're voting for someone into office, this is not conservatives doing it. It's not mainstream right-wingers putting in police that beat protesters.
But who politically supports the police as a matter of their rhetoric and ideology? The right or the left?
The right. But the right doesn't live in these places.
Yeah, but
nor do they appoint these people.
Sure, but
don't tell me that ICE under Donald Trump, but not police under Democratic politicians.
Hold on. The left doesn't appoint protesters who commit random acts of violence against property.
That's not my argument.
I know. But earlier you were making the case that it's the ideology that motivates what these rioters are doing, and that's the reason why the left is ultimately responsible.
What I would say is the underlying ideology is overlapping with the Democratic Party.
Sure. And so what I'm saying, if you want to be consistent, the underlying ideology that supports the police and as a matter of institution, and when the police are cracking down on left-wing protesters, that's overwhelmingly on the side of conservatives.
Except they're not in power in these places, and you're applying a locality to the nation.
They may not be like technically
the police are not motivated by the Republican Party to go out under a Democratic mayor to arrest protesters.
The problem is that the police is still, as a matter of institution, is more of a right-wing institution than a left.
Certainly, even
they're
in
usually
Democratic
on the other side of.
But the point is, a police officer who goes out in New York and arrests a protester does so at the behest of a Democratic politician.
I don't.
Pause.
It's true.
You've been voted out by the majority. Please return to your seat. All right. If you'd like to be the next debater, please get to the chair in 3, 2, 1.
What's up, young man? Listen.
Oh, yeah. I haven't been young for a minute.
Now, slow down with that. Listen,
all right.
It's really quick. The I condemn is really cheap cop-out. That's not going to work.
It's not an argument.
Because the people around us are not low IQ, like your average viewer. It's important to recognize.
Make an argument.
So I'm about to.
You don't have one? Is that it? If you want to be insults, we can go for insults. I'm
about to.
We can rap.
I'm about to.
You want to rap?
Stop delaying my time.
Just call him
so it's
Jewish.
important to recognize that I condemn is not sufficient when the Republican Party has created a permission structure for individuals to go out and do violence against, I'm about to tell you, with impunity. Immigration and Customs Enforcement is a good example.
Law enforcement.
The Trump administration, they
violated electoral process.
They lost in the courts 10,000 times, right?
That's not true.
It is true. Politico actually released a report on it. Yeah, they lost 10,000
I'm
times
sure it would be like
year.
10,000.
They murdered numerous American citizens. And guess what happened to the individuals that carried out those killings? What happened to them?
What happened to them?
Have they been prosecuted? Any investigations? Do you know?
I believe they have not.
Why? It's almost as if when you commit violence,
you're wrong.
You're going to be protected. That's what's going on. That's why Kristi Noem went out and said that Alex Preddy was a domestic terrorist. That's why Stephen Miller said the same thing. And everybody in the entire Republican Party apparatus is echoing those talking points. Because whenever there's violence, they don't condemn it. They condone it. They congratulate it, and they pardon it.
Law enforcement, duly elected by a population that voted in plurality for ICE to go out and engage in these
kill
behaviors.
American citizens?
Which sometimes, yes, absolutely. And
they voted for ICE to kill American citizens, really?
Yes. Do you?
The average Republican. I don't
Not
think they're
the
that.
Who said the average
argument,
Republican
Jimmy.
would vote? But do you not believe that there are people in this country that would vote for ICE to harm people?
Is this your argument?
Do you believe?
This is terrible, Tim.
So you think not a
This is so
single
bad.
person in this country wants to harm
What's
illegal
the
immigrants?
relevance? We're talking about the fact that there is a top-down approach by Republicans like Donald Trump.
Can I ask you the question
to
again?
justify
Can you answer?
murder
Can you answer the
and
question?
allow it to happen, foment violence in this country?
Can you answer
and
the
you're running
question?
cover for it as a moderate.
Actually, you just did.
No, I didn't.
See, I'm
Actually,
I'm pointing out.
ICE violence. You're saying that people vote for it or whatever.
You don't think that there are white supremacists voting for ICE to
that
go
was
and
an
harm migrants?
interesting,
Are you saying that white
overdive on
supremacists voted for Donald Trump so they could kill migrants?
Yes, I am.
Okay, good to know that white supremacists make up part of the Republican Party and Donald Trump's doing their bidding.
Yes, I certainly believe they do.
Okay.
The initial claim that I'm making is that there is.
Wow. Tim just said that white supremacists are a part of the Republican Party. Ugh. Again, Timmy? Again, what was that, Tim? What was that?
I'm pointing out
ICE violence. You're saying that people vote for it or whatever.
You don't think that there are white supremacists voting for ICE to go and harm migrants?
Are you saying that white supremacists voted for Donald Trump so they could kill migrants?
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
Okay, good to know that white supremacists make up part of the Republican Party and Donald Trump's doing their bidding.
Yes, I certainly believe they do.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. No, he's not fucking with him. No, Tim is serious. Tim is serious because Tim is, of course, a liberal.
The initial claim that I'm making is that there is absolutely violence on the right. I already agree with one of the previous debaters that there's institutional violence from the right as well. The best argument against my claim actually is that the right, when they get levers of power, will use law enforcement as their vehicle for the violence that they want to engage in. Those things are all fair. My point is that we are not
That's
seeing...
a nice, long, drawn-out concession. Thank you for...
But it's not a concession because maybe we agree.
Oh, okay.
See, I think...
Well, didn't you say the modern political left commits more violence than modern political right? So now you're saying...
Just because there are riots coming from the left does not mean they're morally right or wrong, or does not mean the right is better or worse. This is a statement about volume of violence that we see and a meaningful issue to a voter as to what is the underlying motivation that we see pushing violence in this country. So when you have ICE going out and engaging in these actions...
This is like a Clarence Thomas level of interpretation with that prompt. That is not what
I don't know why you're trying so hard to disagree when we actually have common ground.
Pause. We are out of time. Thank you.
Nicotine, the ultimate
Oh,
biohacker
God,
secret
ad.
weapon, has made a wild comeback. Those
No
boost
ad,
your
no
investigative
ad,
reach.
no.
My next surrounded claim is that the Democratic Party has embraced authoritarianism.
If you'd like to be the first debater, please get to the chair in 3, 2, 1.
That was fast. Nice to meet you. Let's start off not by, oh God, don't make me defend Republicans, but let's go.
All right, let's talk about authoritarianism.
Yeah.
What does an authoritarian government do?
So it's typically, and particularly in my claim, it's a reference to suppression of dissent, suppression of speech, control of voting, or manipulation of voting for the power, let's just call it control by a particular group of politically
Let's take those claims one at a time.
Yeah.
First, on suppression of speech.
Indeed.
Just a few hours ago today, Trump subpoenaed reporters for trying to report accurate information on the war in Iran.
Wow,
he said,
that's terrible.
No, that can't happen.
Awful.
That's way more authoritarian than what we're seeing on the left here.
Well, I mean, if it's hard to quantify what is more or less authoritarian, but certainly bad when President Trump is trying to stifle speech.
Wait, can you give any example of Biden doing anything even comparable to that?
I can. We can start with Alex Berenson, who is currently in a lawsuit because the Biden administration personally went to social media platforms using his name to be suspended for his reporting on COVID vaccination and mandates.
Okay. At a top level, though, who's doing the majority of the actual suppression of speech here?
I don't really have good words for the Republican Party, to be honest. My issue with this debate is in fact what we're seeing right now is that I'll make a claim about the Democratic Party, which has done awful things, and the immediate response is, but the Republicans, and I don't like Republicans.
Here's the thing. We live in a two-party system.
Correct.
Right? We can have this great grift of oh, well, the Democrats are bad, but and the Republicans, they might be worse, but the Democrats are still bad. But the option is between Democrats or Republicans.
Yes.
So if Republicans are worse, it doesn't really matter if Democrats are slightly bad.
I think Democrats are worse.
We don't love Democrats.
As leftists, we don't love Democrats. Listen, the left has their own version of, you have to vote for us because we aren't Republicans, guys. We might not be good, but we're not Republicans. Republicans do the same thing. You have to vote for us because we're not Democrats. We might not be good, but we're not Democrats. And it's both of the parties are the same. By the way, this is not a leftist. This is a progressive. This is a progressive who thinks he's more far left than he actually is, because real leftists don't vote for Democrats, and real leftists would never defend the Democratic Party. So this is like a progressive who thinks he's more radicalized than he actually is.
But we feel that Republicans are way worse when they institute these far more authoritarian policies.
It's hard to quantify more. The question is, does it suppress speech? And I certainly think Donald Trump has taken actions.
Let's look at human lives. If we want to do a quantification here, let's look at ICE. 3 American citizens have been killed by ICE. That's way more than the number of American citizens killed by immigration enforcement under, say, Obama.
But it's way less than the amount of American citizens killed by Barack Obama.
No.
It is. Yes, it is.
Okay.
Look, I don't want to be disrespectful, but one of the biggest issues to me is the extrajudicial assassination of Abdurrahman al-Awlaki by the Obama administration. And this is what, early on in my life, when I was very anti-war, very lefty, still anti-war, and voted for Barack Obama, and then he murdered
Are you in favor of the war in Iran?
Absolutely not. And Barack Obama killed a 16-year-old American citizen who was at a civilian restaurant in Yemen.
We can play
These are
this
all
game.
bad
we can
things.
be like, oh, well, both parties are pretty bad. But
Indeed.
we have to, when they go to the ballot office, when I go to the ballot office as a voter, I have to actually put in a vote. I have to decide Democrat or Republican, or throw my vote away and vote for some third party.
Libertarian.
If I'm picking between those, and there's one candidate who just brought us into a war in Iran, is causing this massive conflict, tons of human suffering, that's foreign. That's foreign policy. Domestically, we see ICE attacks on American citizens. We see 56 people dying in ICE detention camps in just a singular year. You compare that to under Obama, the deporter-in-chief. Across 8 years, 52 people died. Way, way, way fewer. What we're seeing is dangerous conditions domestically. Way more people are dying. Right? We have a lot of this qualitative discussion. You bring up a lot of anecdotes, but if you actually quantify the number of deaths that are occurring through these authoritarian mechanisms, it's very, very clear that when I vote, I'm choosing the lesser of two evils and voting Democrat.
Let's talk about a few structures of authoritarianism. We'll go with 2016. And you brought up Donald Trump subpoenaing these journalists, so we'll get broad on this one. In 2016, Gizmodo published an article that Facebook had been suppressing news and information from conservative outlets. This is Gizmodo. They're a progressive outlet. In fact, I worked for the company that owned them, and I was a Bernie supporter in 2016. And so agreeing with this reporting and knowing the reporters behind it, I reported this. NBC News, all of these major institutions then claimed I was a right-wing conspiracy theorist.
Here's the thing.
Let me finish. For claiming that these things were happening that they reported on. Then what we learned is that under Obama, under Obama and under Biden, and don't get me wrong, this was under Trump as well, there was an active effort from the FBI. They were given a backdoor access to Twitter and Facebook to remove content that they thought objectionable to the government. And it was not done at the behest of Trump or for his benefit, but to the benefit of those who had been defending him in the press. So notably myself, who was calling out these censorship practices, I was falsely slandered and maligned by the media over this.
Thank you. Yes.
These are institutions. Now, when you say that Donald Trump is mad at them, I agree. Subpoenaing journalists, depending on the issue, can be bad. But to see that from Obama through Trump and into Biden, they were actively given access. This is a violation of the Fourth Amendment.
Tim,
it's a violation of the First Amendment.
We're missing something really important. We're lumping together all of these different types of sort of suppression of speech, but there's a fundamental difference. When we see like left-leaning suppression of speech, often that happens from like a bottom up, where you see some company taking an action.
No, I gave you a specific example of the Biden administration going to a major big tech company, giving them specific instructions to remove people who are saying naughty words.
We saw that in the context of COVID, where vaccination was really, really important.
That's authoritarianism.
800,000 lives were saved by vaccines. We have a really strong.
You can give me every reason for why you want to be an authoritarian. They always have a reason, and saving lives is always one of them.
There's a fundamental difference between suppressing free speech on, say, the war in Iran, where there's really bad stuff going on and we need to talk about it, and, say, spreading vaccine misinformation. In the U.S., we've had really long.
You have a moral opinion on the differences of importance, and that's fine.
Clear and present danger test has
but
been
we're
well
talking about authoritarianism has many different reasons. Did you think that all the tyrants of the world never gave a reason as to why they needed absolute authority? They always did, and they always do. And even today, it's the case, whether it's Trump or anybody else. So when Biden's administration said, because COVID misinformation kills, we will silence you, that's authoritarianism. You can argue that you agree with it, but it still is authoritarianism. How about we can use Cuomo in New York as an example? He shut down churches in violation of the First Amendment. And when he was sued and lost, he issued a secondary executive order changing the words to keep the churches closed. That is authoritarianism. And you right now defending it is my point. I have no problem saying Trump should not go after journalists. But you seem to have a problem saying the Democratic administrations should not be doing what they're doing as well.
Okay,
exactly. Okay,
You've
point
been voted out by the majority.
on that.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Tim ended that strong. Give credit where credit is due.
If you'd like to be the next debater, please get to the chair in 3, 2, 1.
Long distance from back.
You made it. I'm surprised you made it.
So one of the key parts about authoritarianism is influence over elections. One of the key parts.
Is this what women are attracted to now? I'm honestly asking. I'm honestly asking. And maybe not just for this guy, but like for all of these. Is this actually what women are attracted to now? I'm so confused. I'm so confused and perturbed on like just. Okay.
About authoritarianism is influence over elections. And
Great.
We've seen that throughout the history of right-wing and left-wing, the right-wing side of this country has constantly been election deniers. Famously, Trump tried to find votes in Georgia to win the 2020 election. And now we're seeing that they're claiming voter fraud in the city of Los Angeles mayor's race.
Well, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
How many presidential elections in the last 20 years were denied by Democrats?
Were denied by Democrats?
Yeah, but mainstream members of Congress going on the floor, rejecting it.
None.
All of them.
Do you see the Democratic Party trying to create an alternate slate of electors to actually try and overturn
that's a different
democratically
argument.
elected?
Certainly a different argument, but no, that was in, I think that would have been 1960, but certainly not in the last 20 years. So we can completely agree Trump's efforts in 2020 were substantially different from, say, a handful of members of Congress and high-profile personalities coming out and saying the election is illegitimate. But I will say, while it is not particularly mainstream, there actively are groups across social media that believe the election was stolen. Just go on Threads for a few minutes.
God,
True, absolutely true.
Of progressives arguing
Jim is
the election
right.
was stolen.
Threads is
Tons
crazy.
of bots. You know, I'm really
Well,
big
if you don't
believer
think
in
they're
the
real
dead
people,
internet
that's
theory.
fine. I agree with the internet theory, actually.
So look,
but
if
then
you're talking
that-
about the
that
right versus
narrative
the left,
exists.
overall, again, we are talking about the overall picture here. Where is the majority of this coming from?
Well, let me ask you a question. You mentioned California.
Mm-hmm.
I want to ask you a question. Let's say there's an election that takes place, and a ballot comes in 3 days after that election. It's signed with a picture of Mickey Mouse, and it's hand dated. Do you think that is a real vote?
So guess what? In California, when you don't have a correct signature, you can do this thing called ballot hearing, where you take that ballot back to the voter and you say, is this really you? And you have to get that signature again.
But
in that
I
case,
asked you a
I
question.
don't think they registered with the Mickey Mouse signature.
Well, that's actually legal in California. In fact, the example given, I think, in Santa Barbara is a Kirby star image. Now, the challenge with this is, and that's why I'm not a fan of the fraud argument from Republicans. Just stop saying fraud. This is legal in California. In California, you can draw a picture of Kirby star in any manifestation. Now, the problem is signatures are supposed to be unique to an individual because they would be falsifiable. Meaning, I've never seen your signature before. How can I match it? But if you sign up, if you register to vote with a picture of Kirby, anyone in the world can draw that picture of Kirby. So in California, the challenge that
but not everybody has the same name, the same social security.
But the point is, if a ballot is received by a homeless shelter, anyone can fill it out and draw a picture of Kirby Star.
There's a limited number of ballots that get sent to registered voters who are registered with the state.
Well, it's universal mail-in voting. And for instance, there was a homeless shelter in Venice Beach that received 185 mail-in votes despite no one living there. And so,
yes, because people that live on the street have addresses registered to shelters because they don't have anywhere else to get mail.
And so what we've already seen is undercover video showing that activists do go to places like Skid Row and secure a voter registration, where in one video, a man who's clearly not a woman says his name is Teresa. Sure, he'll fill it out. Now, the problem is that man will fill this out under the name Teresa. He will sign, he'll put an X, a mark, which is legal in California. The other issue is that ballots can be received. So it gets complicated, but in California, if a ballot is received before the election, it can be hand dated. If it's received after the election, it has to be post dated. However, a ballot can only be rejected if two independent officials can prove beyond a reasonable doubt it has violated one of these tenets. So I do take issue with Republicans saying voter fraud all the time when it's legal to do this in California. But I think if you go to a regular American and say, ask him this question, and I'll ask you this question: how did Nithya Raman surpass Karen Bass, both Democrats, in mail-in votes only after Election Day?
Because young people vote later, and Nithya Raman won the young vote.
Well, the truth is that the DSA on their website advocates for ballot harvesting, which is legal, and they're allowed to do it. And more power to them. It's very smart.
So do the Republicans. They go to senior centers all across the country and get.
We're going to pause here. You've been voted out by the majority.
Good talking with you.
Okay, listen, man. Listen. We have to give credit where credit is due. Tim did a good job on that one. That fucking gay soy boy kid got totally, that was a good one, Tim. Okay, fine.
If you'd like to be the next debater, please get to the chair in 3, 2, 1.
No contest. Likewise.
Elections, as you were talking about the other person before, I think are sacred.
Oh.
I think elections are sacred, and I believe that they are the most fundamental thing to American values and democracy. We have never seen, ever in American history, the attempt to subvert a free and fair election compared to how Donald Trump and his cronies did on January 6th. And I think that it's absolutely ridiculous to claim that is somehow comparable to the Biden administration.
This kid is like that woman that I traumatized when I was in Madison, because so for people who don't know the story, when I went to Madison, Wisconsin to go to the autonomous zone, the day I got there, I was having drinks at a bar in my hotel, and there was a woman sitting there, and I was talking to the bartender about what was going on at the autonomous zone, and the woman next to me starts talking to me, and she's from Minneapolis, and she's obviously very leftist, and she thinks ICE is murdering everyone. And I was like, "Aw, man." And then I did something perhaps ill-considered. I used the word retarded when I said something to her. And I think it was even in the context. Who was I calling? I was calling Jake Lang retarded. That's what it was. I said, Jake Lang's going to go do something retarded in Minneapolis. You should have seen the meltdown that this fucking bitch had over me using the word retard. You should have seen it. I was like, it didn't even occur to me. It didn't even occur to me. And then she tried to say to me, just like big retard on the other side of the internet, she's like, can you modify your language? And I was like, no. Anyway, I bring up that story because this soy boy kid reminds me of that woman who I literally made cry by using the word retard. And you can find the full video about it on the channel. I did a stream right after it. It was one of the most, it was truly one of the most hilarious things that's ever happened to me, like ever. Like, no, I will not modify my language, leftist. No, not doing it. No. Well, I was here first. Well, I paid to be here too. So, by the way, Jake Lang is having that event in Minneapolis this weekend. So hopefully some streamers go to Minneapolis, because I want to know there was a brief moment I was like, Karlyn, should you go to Minneapolis for this Jake Lang thing? I really thought about it for like 30 seconds. I was like, Karlyn, should you just go to Minneapolis this weekend for this Jake Lang thing that's going to happen there? Because Jake Lang's going to have some big N-word protest, and the left is already forming a counter protest. Actually, I saw them posting about it. Hang on. Hang on. See, the left is counter protesting Jake Lang this weekend. They're posting on social media about it. So I almost was like going to go to Minneapolis, and I was like, you know what? Maybe other streamers can go. Maybe other people can go and document this. I don't need to go. I can just watch. And that would be awesome. Anyway.
Talking to Facebook and certain social media platforms to ban Donald Trump when social media platforms have been under attack by Donald Trump as well. We had in Florida, the right now chair of the RNC is now pursuing legal action against Facebook, Twitter, etc., for banning Donald Trump, which was a decision that they made without Biden's interference.
Well, I don't think arguing like a civil litigation is it's hard to argue civil litigation as a big political issue. If there's a contract violation committed by a company and Trump wants to sue them, certainly if you have the opinion you don't believe that you believe there's malice
it's
there.
The current RNC chair.
Right.
That's
My
like
argument is
pursuing like regulatory action against them for banning Donald Trump.
Right. So these are civil issues, and the challenge is I don't know the facts. You don't know the facts.
You don't think civil issues can be political?
They certainly can. But the point I'm making is that sometimes companies do bad things, and we need regulatory bodies to go after them. I'm in favor of that. Now, the question is, are the Republicans bad for doing it? Honestly, I don't know because I don't know the underlying issues of the case. Maybe they are, maybe they're not.
So I'll bring up another instance. I mean, in Massachusetts, for example, we just had 2 Republicans who were running for attorney general and lieutenant governor who were literally faking signatures on their ballots.
Lock them up.
Literal dead people.
Yeah, lock them
up. And if you look at the papers, they're the same signature down the ballot.
Yeah.
It's the same person, this third party that they hired, who was literally didn't have the same exact handwriting. And they tried
lock them up.
Thousands of signatures across Massachusetts were then considered moot because they were literal dead people from all across the state. And those are 2 Republicans. Right. And you have, I mean, there are countless instances of Republicans, not just Donald Trump, trying to subvert American elections. And I think that is one of the most authoritarian things that anybody in this country can do is to subvert the free and fair elections of the United States.
I think certainly that we have a problem with 2 ancient political parties. I think the real big picture is here, and I'm not saying this to dismiss your anger over what these Republicans did. You're certainly warranted to believe that. I agree. I think they should go to jail for that stuff. The problem is both political parties are playing this procedural game of trying to steal elections through the procedure instead of convincing people. The Republicans are redistricting in all of these different states to give themselves.
January 6th was procedure.
I'm talking right now about both parties certainly January 6th was a riot and it was very, very bad. We can agree on those things. I'm saying that both parties have these procedural efforts to increase their ability to win elections. Right now, Republicans are redistricting.
I fundamentally disagree with that because Republicans were the ones that voted against a bill to ban gerrymandering federally in the United States. Republicans were the ones that continuously denied the fact that Joe Biden won the 2020 election free and fair. Democrats have not once and they have been very consistent on this, on protecting American elections. It's in our name.
Democrats in 2016 accused Donald Trump and his associates of being Russian assets and trying to steal the election at the behest of a foreign adversary, going so far to accuse the president of the United States of treason. There was a multi-year investigation that cost tens of millions of dollars that ended up being nothing. That's election denial. Now, I don't think that's as bad as a bunch of people storming the Capitol. That's terrifying and substantially worse, physical violence. But yeah, I think if you look back at the history of this country, going back decades, it would be a bit naive to say that the political parties aren't doing everything in their power to steal power from each other.
Again, so I mean, I don't want to pivot to Mueller, which in fact also.
We should get caught up in being like Republicans are bad because Republicans
when
are
Mueller
bad.
passed away, rest in peace, an American hero. Donald Trump literally said, "I'm glad he's dead."
Rest
and he
in
no longer
peace,
can
an
hurt innocent
American
people.
hero.
I know. So like again, another instance of Republicans. I would consider threats
Throw 'em
against
out there,
people
brother.
like that.
Democrats are so cooked, man. This is another reason, by the way, the far left will win. Because, like, the far left is so... You guys think that this little fucking snowflake, not that snowflake, that one. You guys think that snowflake is going to defeat a real communist? Because the real communists and socialists hate him. The real communists and socialists think that he's a fascist because he's a Democrat. You think this fucking Democrat kid is going to defeat real communists and socialists? This is another reason why the far left will win. that not only does the right not care about defeating the far left, the Democratic losers, even if they care about it, are completely incapable of dealing with the situation.
So, like, again, another instance of Republicans, I would consider threats
Throw him
against
out there,
people
brother.
like that authoritarian.
Throw him out there. When he said that, I said it was disgusting. I mean, that's horrifying. But it doesn't change the fact that Bernie Sanders had the election taken away from him illicitly. I think in 2016, I was fervent for Bernie. He was talking about securing borders because the Koch brothers, industrialists, wanted to bring in cheap labor. He was talking about getting better wages for the working class, supporting unions. And I said, this is the only guy who's been speaking to issues for the past 20 years that actually matter to working class American people. And what did the Democratic, absolutely, and what did the Democratic Party do? They used superdelegates to make sure he could not win.
Okay, so first off, I'm a big fan of Bernie myself, so I guess it's something you could get on there. I will say that if you as a supporter of Donald Trump, I find it kind of ironic that you believe in anything closely related to Bernie Sanders. I'll give you a few examples.
9 million people who are Democrats voted for Donald Trump in 2016.
Yeah, and I also say 3 million, millions of people, I think it was a couple million in West Virginia, your state, that voted for Bernie Sanders in the primary and then had to switch to Donald Trump. I criticized my own party for that, and I think that was wrong. My point is not that the Democratic Party has never, ever, ever used something or participated, I would say, in bad faith in elections. My point is that we see consistently from Republicans, consistently over and over again.
Parties.
Again, I think that's both parties are all bad. You literally had Donald Trump try to subvert the fair election.
You've been voted out by the majority.
Good talking with you, man.
If you'd like to be the next debater, please head to the chair in 3, 2, 1.
Nice to meet you. Thanks for coming. Appreciate it.
So, yeah, you're not going to have me defending the Democratic Party. I mean,
let's go.
I feel like a lot of people,
and I don't want to defend Republicans.
We're moving towards fascism on both sides. I do want to bring up two unique things that Trump has done that no one has ever done in United States history. So, two is suing a pollster for a poll he didn't like in the state of Idaho. And I think the biggest issue is the Israel issue. Yeah. So you have someone like Trump who, sold TikTok to Larry Ellison, and he also owns CBS News.
Oh, yeah. Paramount entirely.
Right. I think we both agree that's just not good, where you give someone a media apparatus, and a social media apparatus like TikTok. And then
these things worry me for sure. Okay. I think where we're going to agree with Democrat and Republicans is the issue of Israel, particularly. Yes. If we're talking about authoritarianism, this is why I say, don't make me defend Republicans. There's some things I will, but the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, I feel like as an establishment, largely align with each other. And then there are these lesser issues that divide. And I think when you look at TikTok, I'll tell you this, the TikTok was sold explicitly because of Israel.
Right.
Yep.
So the story is this. Initially, Republicans were very mad about TikTok because it seemed to promote progressive content, progressive ideology. Republicans had been banned. People supporting Trump had been banned. So the Republicans come out and say, we got to ban TikTok. We can't do this. Democrats said no. But then something changed. After October 7th, we saw the rise of conduct critical of Israel and supportive of Palestine. Yes. All of a sudden, the Democrats are like, you know what? Now we agree with Republicans and we've got to ban TikTok. And then Trump comes out and says, no, we're not going to ban it, which he does not have the authority to do. The bill was passed. It was signed by the president. When Trump came in office, he was supposed to initiate that ban. But instead, what did he do? He sold it to a supporter of his to change the structure of that content to benefit his worldview, which does align largely with many establishment Democrats.
Yeah, I agree. And, you have him sanctioning the ICC, the prosecutors. I mean, this is the fascism we're talking about. So when you have, Russia and China that don't want to participate in the Western system, this is why. Then you have France, that's trying to get away from the tech companies because our own politicians in those that legislation, they put that that any country that has these databases will be forced to give the data to them.
I think if it is not a singular issue of Donald Trump. Clearly the Democratic Party joined in the cheering on of the banning of TikTok because of his content. And so I think that just shows that we've got an authoritarian problem in this, elite circle of whatever the military industrial complex or big banks and all of these, wealthy groups. They're interested in similar things.
No, yeah, I agree.
Okay, we're going to pause here. You've been voted out by the majority. You can return to
we got a little bit. Nice meeting you.
If you'd like to be the next debater, please get to the chair in 3, 2, 1.
Nice to meet you.
Got to say I'm not a fan of either party, to be honest.
Let's go.
Same boat as you on that one.
Yeah.
The left embracing authoritarianism. Right now, that they don't have the House, they don't have the Senate, they don't have the White House, they don't have a majority in the Supreme Court. If these guys are authoritarian, they're the crappiest authoritarians I've ever seen. They got to go back to authoritarian school and learn how to be authoritarian.
It's true,
how to win.
actually.
Right, losing, you can still be an authoritarian. Like Nazis lose power, but they're still Nazis.
Well, they're losing. They're losing at all levels. They're losing everywhere.
Yeah. The Republicans crushed them, and I think
doesn't mean they're authoritarians, though.
Well, no, I mean you can be an authoritarian and lose, right?
Okay, so there's three actual elements that we need to talk about authoritarianism. One is dismantling institutions. One is eliminating your opponent and suspending elections.
Those are very specific claims to some authoritarians.
I haven't seen those elements present within the left at all.
Donald Trump was arrested several times.
With exception of one, that was the eliminating opposition. I did see it, but
so
it was
when they arrested Donald Trump several times and then tried to get they filed a suit to the Supreme Court to get Trump banned from being able to run.
I don't remember that, but I do remember,
you don't remember
some guy at a rally going,
the 14th Amendment question.
Lock her up. Who was that person again? I forget. All right, it was the same guy who weaponized the DOJ against all his political opponents, or deployed the National Guard to beat down on protesters, deployed
when did he deploy the National Guard to
and tear apart communities, or launched the SAVE Act to try and just put voter suppression tactics in place so we could steal an election. Imprison protesters for 10 years for marching down the streets. Tell the Proud Boys to stand back and stand by. I'm ready to mobilize you to launch another insurrection. Let's go,
if you'd like a soapbox,
who was that guy again? I forgot.
If you'd like a soapbox, we can set one up for you. But if you want to have a conversation, I'm sitting right here.
Go for it. I think the position is indefensible, but I'd love to hear your take. Go for it.
Well, you're allowed to not like Trump. He's done a lot of bad things. Thank you. Now, we were talking about the Democratic Party, the things they've done, and I think, and I'm not saying this derisively, but I think there's many things that you're ignorant of the Democratic Party has done. You talk about suppression of their political opponent. Well, yeah, they sued so that Trump could not run for office. They tried to claim he was an insurrectionist. He was ineligible. He was arrested several times. They arrested his lawyers. Now, by all means, every authoritarian makes the argument they're justified in their use of authoritarian tactics to remove their political opponents. That doesn't change the idea, or I should say the philosophy behind what they're doing. So if you want to accuse Jenna Ellis, for instance, of doing something wrong because she drafted a letter arguing on Trump's behalf, that's authoritarianism. By all means, you can say she was wrong to do it. She's a criminal. But we are seeing when you start going after people's lawyers, by all means, tell me you think she's a criminal and deserves it. And I will tell you, the people of this country now stand in fear that Democrats are going to arrest them if they engage in illegal practices.
We're going to pause here. We are out of time.
Absolutely. My next surrounded claim is that the United States is tracking towards a civil war.
Oh, here
if
we
you'd like
go.
to be the first debater, please head to the chair in 3, 2, 1.
Oh God, this fucking kid.
Welcome back.
Yep. You miss me? So listen, I think that we are getting closer towards a peak of civil unrest in this country. And in all honesty, I'm going to blame people like you. This entire time, you've been trying to blur the line between what separates you and a person like me and everybody in the circle. Okay. The truth is you don't agree. On your show, you have 5 white supremacists around you and 1 liberal lawyer talking about why we should protect the Constitution. On Twitter, you're mentioning civil war and why we need to have a civil war 24/7. No, you've said civil war numerous times. Slates of screenshots over the last 4 years alone.
Saying that
I'm not
there will
talking
be
about shooting ivermectin up your ass.
I've never
all the time.
I've never advocated for ivermectin.
You
have literally no idea what you're talking about. You've not done any research and you've never used Google. I've never advocated for ivermectin, not once.
He's not going to stop talking. You're going to waste
I've never used it. I never used ivermectin. I said no, you shouldn't use it.
I'm going to get to the point
here. So if you want
here.
to make things up,
are you an intellectual or are you too much of a child?
You want to just waste time, then we can waste time. But if you have an actual argument, so if you agree with me on the issue, but you don't like me, then we can agree.
No, I think you're responsible. I think you're responsible.
You can get up
an individual like you're mad.
If you agree,
you just don't want to finish. You know where I'm going to go with this.
Do you agree?
You so mistrust the United States institution.
You're allowed to blame me all you want, and then we can agree, and you can leave.
You just want to run away from the conversation?
Are you here to dispute my claim or agree with it?
I think you're responsible.
That's fantastic. Thank you, and have a nice day.
Oh, you don't want to hear why you're responsible?
It doesn't matter because you're here to dispute my claims, right?
It doesn't matter. You don't. All of a sudden, you want to stick to the definition of your claims when it comes to just about everything.
Are you supposed to agree with me and sit here and agree with me?
You're not going to stop talking, are you?
Are you going to sit here and agree with me?
Are you going to control yourself? You're like 50 years old, bro. Calm down.
Agree with me?
Calm down.
You come down.
I don't agree with you. I disagree with you on everything.
You make fake claims.
Of course I do. If anybody's doing something that they don't actually believe in, it's you because you're getting paid by the country.
Can everyone just enjoy this silence? Isn't it so much better than the yapping? Silence. This is why I hate the fucking internet. This is why I'm sick of fucking fighting with people on the internet. There's no fucking point to it. It never goes anywhere. The silence is preferable over the bullshit. Every single day.
I argued with Joe Rogan on his show. I advocated on Joe Rogan's show against ivermectin.
David, can you please address the claim?
I think America is getting closer to civil war, and it's all because of people like Tim Pool.
Thank you for agreeing with me. Have a nice day.
Yeah, you're a coward, bro.
Well, if you don't agree with me, I don't know why you're here. Also, I would recommend doing research before you come to a place like this.
If you'd like to be the next debater, please head to the chair in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back.
Damn.
Good to see you again.
Great to see you again.
Yeah.
First time we talked about this was in 2019, so it's been quite a while.
I think it was
since
before
you've
that,
been calling
actually.
for civil war.
I've never called for civil war.
Or not calling for, I'm sorry, said that we're on
Important
the brink of civil war.
And what was the citation I had for when I said that?
I would love you to
It was
tell
The
me.
Atlantic.
Okay.
And it was a journalist who interviewed several national security experts who said that there is a range of opinions in the national security space that the U.S. is trending towards a civil war. Notably, that when you cite people like Stephen Marsh, journalist, as well as Barbara F. Walter, former CIA, the U.S. academics describe the period that we're in as civil strife, meaning there's a criteria of death that has occurred for political reasons over the past year or years, for which the next phase would be civil war. However, will make my point, tracking towards it, I've not said that it will happen, although there's been many people who have said that we are in a cold civil war or some kind of cultural civil war. I always caveat, because I don't actually have a strong prediction.
First of all, you do have a strong prediction if you've been saying this since 2019. There's
Well,
42
reading articles about
people
it,
can
sure.
look this up. There's 42 of your titles that have the word civil war in it with big fonts on the front.
They sure do.
So why is that? It's sensationalist. It's easy to get clicks on that. There's a reason why you say it, because it's very profitable for your business.
Not necessarily.
But
We have 1,600 episodes of just IRL.
There comes a point where people stop taking your predictions seriously.
Are you going to make an
Like you
argument,
said-
or are you mad at me?
I'm not mad at you. I'm
Okay,
trying
then
to
let's make
explain.
an argument about whether
I'm
or not
trying.
we are tracking.
Can you
No.
relax?
If you're making
The
an
point-
argument, you
no,
don't
Tim.
like my thumbnails, or you try to say my name over and over
I'm
again.
saying that you say bullshit in order to get money. But what
Let me
I
ask
really
you-
think
let
is
me ask you a
the
question.
predictions.
Let me
Hold
ask you-
on.
let me ask you a
Tim,
question you can't
I will
answer.
agree with you that there's increased polarization. I would attribute a lot of that to people being specifically online.
Let me ask.
There's
I
a
don't
lot
disagree.
less
I
interaction with
completely
people
agree.
that are in
Sure.
different camps.
Let me ask you a
But
question.
you're going to sit here and tell me that we're way more polarized than fucking Alexander Hamilton and Aaron Burr, who like shot each other with their disagreements. You're going to
Why
tell me
was
that
Aaron
Andrew
Daniels-
Jackson, who's the sitting
Do you
president,
want to have a
calling people up for
conversation, or are you
duels
just going to be
is
angry?
not
Why was
polarization?
Aaron Danielson shot in the chest twice?
Sorry?
Why was Aaron Danielson shot in the chest
I'm not
twice?
disagreeing that political violence
Answer
is taking
the
place
question.
in
You say
Tim
Alexander
Pool.
Hamilton and Aaron Burr, but then when I ask you a question about an assassination, you defer.
Where you can say that
Let me
there's
ask you a
civil
question.
war every fucking year and it doesn't happen. And
I
you're gonna
never
say,
said
it just
there
hasn't
was.
happened yet.
Let me ask you a
Or
question.
if it does happen, you say, see, I've had it all
Let me
along.
ask you a
You are
question.
the same thing as
Let-
like the
let me
Christian rapture
ask you
people
a
who say
question.
that the rapture's coming every fucking year.
Are
And
you-
when it doesn't happen,
do
it's
you want a
like, oh, it's not
soapbox?
happening.
You want me to get you a
I'm just saying,
soapbox?
It's really
I can leave.
easy.
You want me
It's
to
really
go?
easy to
You want me to
do
leave?
what you do.
You want me to
It's really easy to do what you do. Like you literally just say, Civil War is happening next year. Civil War is happening next year. It's coming. Make sure you subscribe to Tim.
Okay, I'm sorry, Tim L. I was fully prepared to be on Tim's side on this one, but Tim just crashed the fuck out. Like, that was a rage quit. It was stupid. It wasn't even a good rage quit. This kid fucking won. This retarded fucking loser fucking leftist social media clout chaser fucking won. Because Timmy stormed off like a little bitch because he got pressed. Come on.
Sorry?
Why was Aaron Danielson shot in the chest
I'm not
twice?
disagreeing that political violence
Answer
is taking
the
place
question.
in
You say
Tim
Alexander
Pool.
Hamilton and Aaron Burr, but then when I ask you a question about an assassination, you defer.
Where you can say that
Let me
there's
ask you a
civil
question.
war every fucking year and it doesn't happen. And
I
you're gonna
never
say,
said
it just
there
hasn't
was.
happened yet.
Let me ask you a
or
question.
if it does happen, you say, see, I've had it all
Let me
along.
ask you a
You are
question.
the same thing as
Let-
like the
let me
Christian
ask
rapture
you
people
a
who say
question.
that the rapture
Yeah, exactly. Common Pisces meltdown. Exactly. This is the Pisces episode. Common Pisces meltdown from Timmy when he's getting told things he doesn't want to fucking hear.
is coming every fucking year.
Are
and when it
you-
doesn't happen,
do
it's
you
like,
want a
oh, it's just not
soapbox?
happening.
Do you want me to get you a
I'm just saying,
soapbox?
It's really
I can leave.
easy.
You want me to
It's
go?
really easy to
You want me to
do
leave?
what you do.
You want me to
It's
leave?
really easy to do what you do. Like you literally just say, Civil War is happening next year. Civil War's happening next year. It's coming. Make sure you subscribe to Timcast. Continue to watch my videos, please. Follow us on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram. It's easy to do what you do, bro.
Tim got his ass kicked by a Crip. Tim got his ass kicked by a Crip. That is a disability justice term for people who don't know. That's a leftist term. I'm not saying it's my term. Guys, we are so fucked. We are so fucked. Tim Pool represents the best that there is to debate these fucking soy boy leftist cloud chasers. We are so fucking cooked. Oh, he came back. Oh, he came back.
Nobody's actually had a debate yet. Are we going to actually talk about whether it will or will not happen? I mean, sounds like it's gonna.
All right. If you'd like to be the next debater, please head to the chair in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome. Nice to meet you. Hey, nice to meet you.
I think we are being constantly fueled by the people that are already in charge, that are up on top, that are already wealthy, and that already have power over the entire government. Donald Trump has 8 billionaires in his administration, including himself. You see his son's property.
W is good, sir. Appreciate the channel membership. Thank you for the support. You know, guys, I haven't really been pushing support today for super chats and channel memberships. It's been a pretty light day because the content kind of sucks. This is boring, lame content, if we're being honest about it. Socialism is so much better. I usually don't push for donations unless I'm doing an actual socialism class, and this is a little bit lighter. But if you do want to donate to support my work, feel free to send in some channel memberships. Feel free to send in some super chats. But like, I also fully acknowledge that this is maybe not the best content I've ever created in the world. I just wanted to watch this and I wanted to see what happened. And I thought, if I'm going to do it, I might as well do it with friends. So hope you guys are enjoying the show. Let me know your opinions in the chat. We will obviously keep watching. Timmy has reemerged after his rage quit. Let's see if it gets any better.
Profiting, you see his friends profiting, you see everyone in close ties with him profiting. They're not going to give up this power. I don't think we're on the verge of a civil war. I think we're due for a revolution. Well, and I hope that's peaceful. I hope that's not violent. I hope we change.
So this is fantastic. No, I appreciate this. Can I ask you some questions?
Yeah.
Do you believe that Donald, and I'm not trying to accuse you of believing this, but do you think that Donald Trump is a fascist?
Yes, I do.
Do you think that there are Nazis in his administration?
W's, Ginny.
In his administration?
Yeah. Do you think that I mean, how do you feel about them using the military to go after undocumented migrants in this country?
I think it is an unnecessary use of force when we should be targeting violent criminals that have come into this country illegally. That should be the sole focus when 70% of detainees in ICE custody do not have a criminal conviction.
How do you
We're
feel?
wasting resources and trying to use a show of militaristic power, which is a huge proponent of fascism.
How do you feel about the death of Renee Good and Alex Preddy?
Unjustified.
Murder.
Are you going to do anything about it?
I'm going to rally everyone here.
Is rallying going to stop murder?
I don't do this.
Is rallying going to stop the killing of people?
I annoy my few hundred friends and followers on my Instagram post by reposting news stories.
Do you think rallying will stop the killing of people?
What I'm doing here now is trying to show people that,
guys, when he says revolution, that is basically a civil war. Listen, I do agree with Tim that we are due for a civil war. What I disagree with Tim about is who the participants in the civil war are going to be. When the civil war happens, in my opinion, it will not be left versus right. It will not be Democrat versus Republican. It will not be red state versus blue state. It will be radical revolutionary socialist versus the federal government. That is the civil war. That is the only civil war that's going to happen because God knows the right are too chicken shit to do anything. It will be revolutionary socialist versus the government. So when this kid says we're due for a revolution, that is the civil war. The revolution's not going to be peaceful. They know that. They talk about it openly. They talk about the need for violence to overthrow the government. They do not believe in elections. The revolution is the civil war. The left believes that the left actually believes the Civil War, the previous one, was a revolution. The left believes we had the American Revolution in which we basically overthrew the monarchs in England. They believe the Civil War was the second revolution in which the worker overthrew the property owner. And they believe the third Civil War, and I have them on video saying this, they believe the third Civil War will be revolutionary communist versus the government to overthrow the government, overthrow capitalism, and install the communist utopia. That is literally what they believe. They believe we will have 3 revolutions in this country: the American Revolution, the Civil War from the 1800s, and the pending revolution to overthrow the government. That is what they believe. Yo, we got old sub, 5 channel memberships, W's, my friend. So appreciate all your amazing support. You rock.
They need to speak up that we're not against each other, right and left.
Do you believe speaking up will stop ICE from killing people?
I think speaking up will get us to the right process of voting people in the midterms and in the next election so that we can make changes the constitutional way.
How many people do you think will die between now and then?
Too many. There's already been too many people that have died.
So again, this is largely based off, I don't know if it's.
So wait, are you trying to incite a civil war?
No.
Do you want a civil war?
I'm asking
so
you
what
if
do
you actually believe.
What do you want to do against ICE?
I like ICE.
Then you're happy that they're killing people?
No.
Okay, so what are you going to do?
I'm going to vote for Trump again.
He's the one that's allowing guys to kill people.
To be fair, I'm going to vote for J.D. Vance.
As I just said, he's the one not taking accountability.
I think there's a distinction here. For one, the claim is meant to be like nonpartisan, but I have, of course, my partisan views.
Of course.
I like the Trump administration, though they've done a lot of bad things.
And that's fine.
And we can call it those bad things, but I'm going to continue to support it. My point largely is either the progressives will stand up against what they perceive as fascism, or fascism takes over.
Which they are
now,
doing.
By all means,
we just had the largest protest in the history of the United States. No King's protest.
We're going to pause here. Thank you. You've been voted out by the majority. Yeah. If you'd like to be the next debater, please head to the chair in 3, 2, 1.
Okay, so the whole thing about civil war is that I do think that you need some sort of leadership, that is being financially disenfranchised.
What do you think? What do you think the odds are that Charlie is a they them? I somehow doubt that Charlie is a she her. I think Charlie's probably a they them. Am I right about that? 1 in the chat if you think she her, 2 in the chat if you think they them.
Civil war, and we don't really have any strong progressive leaders in office currently that are being meaningfully financially disenfranchised, the way slavers were. So
but
I think that
you don't. That's the challenge. I think
yes, that is absolutely yes. That
you
is
don't. If you take a look at civil wars throughout history, we can use the Syrian civil war as an example. It started with a dozen or so disparate factions, largely of locals and various ideologies that ultimately coalesced around one group. Either the Free Syrian Army, but then ultimately got taken over.
Right.
So civil wars can be fomented through small factions that bubble up.
Certainly, but I think that you are vastly overestimating the kind of militant.
I mean, you can still have tits and be queer. You can still have boobs and be queer. Just because the they them seems to have boobs doesn't mean they're not queer. Are you supposed to be acting like Algoth? What the fuck? What the fuck? Should be all about me. Who the fuck cares what the they them on the video says? Should be what you have one job here, okay?
Capacity of the American left. Like, we truly do not have like a far left in the US that would be willing to take up arms. It is so small. Furthermore, I do think that technology wise, it's not, it's not an even battle anymore. Like, the military, the US military, which is largely conservative, and currently, Trump is in charge of them. The technology that they have to track, surveil, to remotely kill people would be absurd. I mean, I guess we could do some sort of guerrilla warfare, but this is American territory. It wouldn't go down like Vietnam, like we know where we are, we know where we're going.
This is a fantastic point, by the way, and this gets into what's known as the generations of warfare.
Okay.
So the earliest generation of warfare, obviously, is a guy punching a guy. As we got into the 1700s, well, maybe even before then, you get field battles and drums and trumpets, and they refer to this largely as like third generation. Fourth generation is what they refer to as insurgency, terror, guerrilla warfare tactics, which we saw famously people bring up during the American Revolution. Many people refer to the period we're now in as fifth generational warfare. And the question is, what is the purpose of conflict? And it's to typically, not always, but to gain control of resources or a political group. Usually it's to gain control of something. And it could be for ideological reasons or economic reasons. What we're witnessing now, what I would say, maybe we're not going to have what's called a hot civil war, but remain cold, is the use of information technology for the purpose of controlling populations, like you've described. So in the broader picture, I would argue that what we are seeing now with TikTok and Instagram may actually stop kinetic conflict, which would be people shooting each other.
Yes.
And we may actually just end up with people being brainwashed and waving Israeli flags or something.
Well, I mean, we're already kind of there. I mean, like Peter Thiel and Elon Musk are, the two most powerful tech dudes, and even Mark Zuckerberg and Jeff Bezos to some degree. They're in Trump's pocket, or maybe Trump is in theirs. And there's just, online, there really isn't a way for the left to meaningfully take control, not in a real sense. I think that, yes, the country will continue to get polarized, but will we have a civil war? No.
Pause here. Thank you. You've been voted out by the majority.
Oh, good. Thank you.
All right, if you'd like to be the next debater, please head to the chair in 3, 2, 1.
Hello. When January 6th
this one's
happened, I actually thought we were headed towards a civil war then. I thought, oh my God, this is really f***ing bad.
It's terrifying.
And so much so that what ended up happening is that gun sales increased predominantly on the left because they were so afraid of what was going to happen. And we had been seeing documentaries and news networks talking about the far right extremists who were already training with like AR-15s and things like that were attempting to potentially start a coup. And so if we were talking back then, I would actually agree with you. The reason I disagree with you now is because we don't have a faction of the left that is nearly as violently motivated as the right is.
I'm sorry. I'm on leftist Instagram and I see tranny and queer activists posting about doing training with guns like all the fucking time. Like guns in the queer community are a big thing right now. And so no, little progressive. No, that's not true. They do have guns. They have gun clubs. They're posting about it on Instagram. Maybe you don't see it because you're a Democrat.
So if we were to talk about a hypothetical civil war, then I would argue the far right would start it, specifically because of what you just said. You said that you would like to re-elect Trump, that you would vote for him for a third time. But you didn't say Vance. You said Trump, right?
Well, I corrected it.
And I think that goes down to the ideology of again
probably,
your argument around the Constitution.
I don't know what it is, but we should.
There is a faction of MAGA that wants him to run again and skirt the Constitution so that MAGA can stay in power. I think in a hypothetical, that would lead towards a civil war.
I agree.
And so, okay, but people like yourself who continue to spew this type of rhetoric of, is it going to happen? Is it going to happen? I think you want it to happen.
I think you're exaggerating the things that I've said about it. I think that last conversation was absolutely fantastic.
I think everything that you talked about is online and people can just look it up.
I've interviewed national security experts to ask them if they think this is going to happen. When you have one gentleman saying, yes, and it's my fault, he doesn't have to like me. You don't have to like my opinions or what I do. But I think when you also say that when MAGA wants to elect Trump for a third time, you are correct, they do. And I also agree this is going to create an untenable situation for the country that I don't believe progressives or Democrats will accept. I don't see Trump and his base backing down, and I don't see the left, liberals, Democrats, or otherwise agreeing to back down. It's a simple question. Would anyone in this room sit back as Trump seized a third term in power? I don't think they would do it.
Yeah.
So you can have a fascist take over a revolution, or you can have a civil war if this is the case. And I hope to God it's not. Because you know what I'd prefer? I prefer to watch the soccer match and have some chicken wings. I don't want to deal with conflict crisis. I don't like having to live in I have multiple bodyguards with me today. I have to have people standing outside my house because
Why
I
are
got
you
shot.
scared of the progressives in here?
I'm not scared of anybody in here. Actually, I think you guys have been absolutely lovely. But there are lunatics. In December of last year, someone drove by my property and opened fire on our buildings. And
You're going to blame that on the left too?
It was a left-aligned individual who did it, but I mean, I'm not blaming you guys for doing it. And I certainly would acknowledge that there are people on the right who engage in violence all the same. What I'm saying is I don't want you to be in fear of your life. I don't want to be in fear in my life. I prefer this. You guys have been absolutely awesome. We disagree. I mean, that guy really hates me, but I don't want him hurt or anything like that. I don't want to live in a country where people are attacking each other without trying to understand each other.
Right. But the rhetoric that you're spewing is leading towards that. You want Trump again, which means the rhetoric that you're spewing online, the political commentary that you're spewing online,
I don't
is
want
teasing it.
I don't
It's
want
like,
Donald Trump.
Will they? Won't they? Will they? Won't they?
I don't want Donald Trump for a
Guys,
third term.
Go.
But
and have a civil war.
I would prefer, J.D. Vance, maybe Rubio, but
That's still MAGA.
And indeed, and understand that Trump won the plurality of the vote in 2024, and he has a large support base, despite his polls being very low. He does. And we'll see what happens with the Republican Party in 26 and 28. But you can't just wish away the existence of another political faction with a polarized worldview compared to yours. I do not see a reality where Republicans accept the worldview of the progressives who are gaining ground in multiple places, namely in New York. And I don't see the progressives accepting the Trump worldview as you've described it.
And the reason that we're not going to accept it is because people like you.
And the reason we won't accept it is people like you.
We're gonna pause here. If you'd like to be the next debater, please head to the chair in 3, 2, 1.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Jeremiah. Okay, so we know that the USA is very resilient, right? We've weathered so much. So we've stayed intact, and we weathered 1968 riots, McCarthyism, what else? Civil rights era.
Civil War.
So, but the thing is, we've stayed intact, right? So my thing is that we can have polarizing views, right? But nothing that we're dealing with right now is as intense as anything that I've just mentioned, and none of those things led to a civil war. So unless the right plans to enslave the left, how are we going to have a civil war?
Can we do that?
So one example that I have.
Wait.
Anything that I've just mentioned, and none of those things led to a civil war. So unless the right plans to enslave the left,
unless the right plans to enslave the left. Is this the smartest thing that's been said in the debate all day? Unless the right plans to enslave the left. Hang on. Let us just consider this possibility for a moment or two. What's really wrong with this idea? What's really wrong? I mean, you could argue that you're taking away the freedom of some people, but those people are trying to overthrow the government and create a communist utopia and force us all to be fucking communists. If I have to choose between being a communist and having a leftist slave, I think the answer is clear. And I just, maybe we need to work through the details. We need to, really think about this, but the potential is there. The potential is there.
how are we going to have a civil war?
So one example that I often say, which I don't know that, a lot of this is probabilistic. I like to use Colorado as an example. Okay. Colorado allows for abortion up to the point of birth, the woman's discretion, but Oklahoma bans it, and they share a border.
Okay.
So you have a potential for conflict in that regard, because if a woman is with a man and she's 7 or 8 months pregnant and she decides to get an abortion in Colorado where it's legal, the state will try to stop her. We have already had an instance where, I'm not sure, it was a southern state, it might've been Mississippi or Alabama, where they charged, I believe they attempted to charge a woman with conspiracy to commit abortion by fleeing the state. And so the issue that arises is at the ground level when a man says, "You are taking my child to be murdered," and the woman says, "No, it's a fetus. I'm getting an abortion."
Oh, here we go.
Wait.
Okay. Progress. The Constitution allows for the slavery of the incarcerated. So what we need to do is make it illegal to be a communist, arrest all the fucking communists, put them in jail, and then enslave them because they're already in jail. They're already incarcerated. And that way we have a whole minion of like What would it be like a gaggle of leftist slaves? Like, what would the term for the leftist slave grouping be? But like, if we can arrest them for being a communist and put them in jail, then we can legally enslave them. Wards of the state. The wards of the state. We would call a polycule of leftist slaves. Yeah, a cell. Okay, you win, Mila. Win. Yep. A collective of slaves. Yep. A polycule, a commune. Mm-hmm.
Traveling between jurisdictions with different laws, which creates a problem for Colorado and a problem for Oklahoma, which probably don't want to fight.
But what I'm saying is that if you're saying the nation would fight, we don't even see internal fights within the states, like separate states. I would think that we would see that first before we'd see the nation fight.
Well, we saw in Texas when the Biden administration deployed federal police and the Texas National Guard came and they were actually...
Obviously, YouTube, my work is a work of satire. I am not being serious when I say we need to enslave leftists. This is a channel where we use satire. This is satire. This is not serious. I'm making a fucking joke. Anyone who thinks I'm being serious is a massive fucking retard. This is satire, motherfuckers.
Actually in dispute over the concertina wire on the border because Texas doesn't have the constitutional authority to deport. They sent out their state National Guard in defiance of the federal government.
And we saw that overreach here in California when Trump did that overreaching.
Right, sending the Marines.
But guess what? But the thing is, military hasn't defected.
For entertainment.
The claim is that we are tracking towards one, and I think that's an academic claim. But it's also possible we have a revolution.
What do you mean by tracking? Tracking like in 100 years? Like
no. Tracking means that what we have seen over the past 10 years historically runs parallel to other stories that have culminated in civil war, but don't always. So that's why academics say today's period in the United States is called civil strife.
Okay, we're going to pause
civil rights
there.
era was civil strife as well.
We're going to pause here. I think you've been voted out majority. If you'd like to be the next debater, please head to the chair in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome. Hi. Nice jacket.
Hi, thank you. When you say that the U.S. is heading towards a civil war, I fundamentally disagree with this claim because I think that for any country to go through civil war, 3 key things need to happen. The first is geographic fracture. The second is the military defecting. And the third is institutional collapse, none of which we see in the United States.
Well, let's address the claim number 1. We actually have seen massive internal migration from blue states to red states and red states to blue states. So the geographic hyperpolarization absolutely is happening.
I didn't say polarization. I said geographic fracture. There are plenty of blue cities in red states.
Right.
So where's the fracture? Has any state tried to secede?
There have been instances of states trying to secede from themselves.
Not really, no.
Which
states have tried to secede?
Northern California is trying to secede. You've got Eastern Oregon trying to secede.
No.
You've got a district in Northern Colorado.
What I mean secede is not are people wanting it to happen? Or is there a little bit of a movement going on? Is there mass voting for a state to secede? No, there's not.
The state of Jefferson, are you familiar?
No, there's not.
And Greater Idaho.
Did it happen?
It
doesn't happen.
I believe we had two counties. Hold on. If you don't know this, don't just say you don't. Eastern Oregon had 2 counties voting to secede from the state to join Idaho.
Did it happen?
It did not.
It does not happen. No, because
but whether it did or didn't happen is the argument. Are people trying to make it happen?
We're extremely polarized in this country.
Western Maryland tried to secede.
There's no geographic fracture.
Western Maryland voted to join West Virginia.
People tried. It doesn't happen.
I understand. I think a lot of people look at American history and then believe all civil wars happen in this context. But in fact, the United States is unique in this regard, in that we were positioned for civil war because you had state jurisdictions with great authority that were in defiance of the federal government.
You use this rhetoric a lot, and it's very, very dangerous to use this rhetoric because it gets people up in arms and gets people rallied up. This kind of rhetoric is the same kind of rhetoric that Donald Trump uses to rally up right-wing conservatives. This is so dangerous that there are only 2 possibilities for why somebody would say this. Either they're blatantly exaggerating and grifting for money, or they genuinely believe what they say and they don't know, and they don't give their audience the 20 seconds of respect on Google it would take to learn otherwise. The U.S. is not heading towards a civil war.
That's
not what's happening.
There's clearly more than 2 reasons why someone would say these things.
No, there's not. I mean, like I said,
and that's being intentionally derisive and not informing anybody.
It's the truth because we're not heading towards a civil war.
We're going to pause it here. We're out of time.
All right.
Thank you, though, so
well, it's good talking to you.
Nice to meet you.
My final surrounded claim is that the Constitution effectively does not exist anymore.
If you'd like to be the first debater, please head to the chair in 3, 2, 1.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Going well.
So, what is the purpose of the claim?
So the first question is, what is a constitution? A constitution, it actually refers to what constitutes a body politic. As of right now, I would make the argument that first, what is known to most people, the interpretation of the Constitution dramatically has changed over the past several hundred years, not just with amendments, but with the language itself, though. Many people might argue they're originalists. Some might say they're textualists. It doesn't even matter if they claim those things because their view of the Constitution has changed. As of today, there's actually two distinct large body politics, if that's the way you say it, and they do not agree on the interpretation of the Constitution. Thus, we are seeing claims the Supreme Court is no longer legitimate. We've seen that for some time now. We see Republicans angry with Amy Coney Barrett and Kavanaugh over their rulings, and we are now hearing arguments that politicians should just ignore the Constitution outright, or the Supreme Court, I'm sorry, in this capacity, even though this would violate the Constitution.
But that wouldn't necessarily work, because if the founding fathers were creating the document, they knew that this was going to continuously progress because they believed in the modernization of the United States that was going to continuously go forward. That's why you had Lincoln making the Reconstruction era amendments, and even the progressive era amendments, like the 16th Amendment with the income tax, the 17th Amendment.
We're not arguing amendments.
But what I'm saying is that the Constitution has always been able to progress and change. If you're looking for the issues when it comes to the Supreme Court and what everybody else believes, that happens on the left and on the right. Everyone has the disagreements when it comes to the Supreme Court. But the problem is, when you look at the Trump administration, what they're currently doing right now is making executive orders saying that they're going to ask questions about the 14th Amendment, when the reality is that he wanted to change the first section of the 14th Amendment to his own.
Is anyone stopping him?
The Supreme Court did, actually. Not only did the Supreme Court stop them, initially, that's what he was promised. He was hoping did not happen. That's why he was sitting in April with the Supreme Court, trying to be basically the muscle of the executive and the judicial.
So Trump hasn't stopped. In fact, they're preparing another executive order under the same line that was just rejected, but targeting territories.
But then you would agree with that the fault then would be coming from the political right then in this case, because when
it's not a question of fault. It's a question of, we are not seeing. But my point largely is, there is a left and there's a right in this country that are so distinct. Neither views the Constitution as being upheld.
But that's not necessarily true. When you look
But
at
it is true.
Well, I'll explain to you as the reason as to why it's not
You
true.
think Trump's upholding the Constitution?
I don't think he's upholding the Constitution, but I know for a fact that the left has been, or the Democrats have been actually holding up the Constitution a lot more. If you look at, for example, with Bush,
do you think Republicans believe the Democrats are upholding the Constitution?
Do I think that the Republicans are holding it?
Do Republicans in this country believe Democrats are holding true to the Constitution?
Of course they don't, but that's because
that's the point. There is no unified body politic that operates under the U.S.
opinion based.
Constitution.
That's specifically opinion based. When
And
you
that-
look
yes,
at
correct.
well, hold on. When you look at different members and different presidential terms. You look at Trump, he's trying to take it down with the 14th Amendment through executive orders. The AUMF under Bush, he took away the ability for the Congress to actually declare war with that simple document because of September 11th. I haven't seen Obama do that. I haven't seen Biden try and do that whatsoever, especially when it comes to the past 20 years. The reason as to why we're in those situations is because of these two presidents. Now, what my argument is that while they may say, individuals may say this, what we're seeing is actual executive powers, legislative powers.
This is not the argument.
Actual judicial powers on the right that are specifically doing this.
That's your question. Pause. You've been voted out by the majority.
Good talking with you.
Good talking with you.
If you'd like to be the next debater, please get to the chair in 3, 2, 1.
How's it going? Nice to meet you.
An issue I kind of take with your interpretation of the Constitution is that you're kind of like taking this originalist approach to the Constitution, and that every single word in the Constitution should be taken as literal.
No, I'm not.
So what do you mean essentially by like?
So the founding fathers, it was the split between the Federalists and the Anti-Federalists. There was an argument as to whether we should have an unwritten Constitution or a written Constitution. There was a fear that with an unwritten Constitution, it would evolve too dramatically and you'd end up with tyranny. So one faction says, hey guys, write it down. In fact, they wanted not just a Constitution, they wanted a Bill of Rights. So the argument is, fundamentally, a Constitution is what constitutes the body politic. When you have a group of people that are largely morally aligned, they all basically agree, then you have a constitution. We are seeing an increase in geographic polarization. This is resulting in the Congress becoming equally polarized with radically different views of what the Constitution actually means.
So our Congress is very, very, very centered, right? Our Congress is very much in the political center. So to say that they're these radical figures, I think it's strikingly ironic. And
Well, no, they're polarized, right? They vote on party line almost all the time, even when it doesn't make sense. And if you don't, Trump gets you removed from office like Massey.
Yeah.
So that's polarization, right? So they're going to vote for the agenda of the right or the agenda of the left. And I think that the easiest way to explain it is, The amendments are the easiest way to approach this in understanding that the Constitution being largely, in my view, non-existent is the suppression of speech that we saw from Democratic Party administration officials. So that violates the First Amendment.
You have to admit, though, like the First Amendment doesn't mean that you can say whatever you want. Like
it certainly means you can express political opinions,
but it has
continually,
like our judges in our Supreme Court has continually ruled that there are limitations on free speech.
I agree.
I can't scream that there's a fire in a movie.
Yes,
theater,
you
right?
can. Brandenburg v. Ohio, you're wrong.
Like there needs to be a
Okay,
threat
we're
of
gonna
imminent
pause
danger.
here. Already said you can't scream fire in a crowd.
There has to be a threat of imminent
Thank
danger.
you.
That's not.
You've
Yes,
been voted
that's
up by the
true.
majority.
Nice meeting you.
If you'd like to be the next debater, please head to the chair in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back. Shake your hand again.
All right. You're telling me that the Constitution effectively doesn't exist, right?
Yes.
Not that it's necessarily like low quality, but that it like effectively just does not exist at all.
Well, let's not be super extreme. What I mean is there's obviously a document. We know what it is. We use it for certain guiding principles as to the power that our parties want.
My specific argument here is that the Constitution, whether or not it's being handled in like exactly the right way, it does exist. It's an important matter. Then great. The thing is, I don't know what your personal views is. My job here is just to dispute your claim. The claim is that it effectively does not exist. My argument is, insofar as we're all talking about the Constitution, we have a court, flawed or not,
Is the Fourth Amendment being upheld?
that reviews the Constitution.
Question: Is the Fourth Amendment being upheld?
I'm not a constitutional scholar. I don't know, but there's active debate about it.
The
That's
answer is that it's not. And we've had a serious issue with flock cameras, for instance. One video I just watched where a guy got pulled over wrongly and arrested because a flock camera flagged his car down. Now, when the police show up at your house and accuse you of a crime with fake evidence and you get arrested, that is a violation of your rights. Now, certainly we can argue that because of the Fourth Amendment, you can go and dispute it in court, but you could dispute it in court with or without the Fourth Amendment.
I'm absolutely against those like flock cameras. But again, that's not the point of this topic. When we're talking about does the Constitution exist, insofar as there's still a court review system.
Let's not argue semantics. Sometimes there's not. A good example is the case of Andrew Arnheimer, where he was arrested in Georgia and brought to New Jersey in violation of his constitutional rights and put in prison because of this, which ultimately resulted in him getting out. So I understand there is a Constitution. I know there's a physical piece of paper, and I know that it does work, but I'm saying effectively, because what I'm saying is it has become so disputed and so ignored in most capacities that we may as like people are not abiding by it. The Democrats don't believe Republicans are. Republicans don't believe Democrats are. That's my point. That it is an ineffective.
Thank you. You've been voted up by the majority.
Good talking to you again.
All right, if you'd like to be the next debater, please head to the chair in 3, 2, 1.
Go fat guy, go fat geek. Yeah!
How's it going? Nice to meet you.
Look at that guy run.
What is the point of telling a bunch of different progressives that a bunch of things that we all agree with?
I don't know. You tell me.
What is the point of that? You're sitting within this pocket of safe moderation, right? You are a former Bernie bro, right?
Oh, yeah.
Hell yeah. I agree with you. I was there when the bird landed on the podium in Portland. I was fucking there,
amazing,
man. I completely agree.
Wouldn't it be funny if the chair
And
broke?
we both probably got disenfranchised by our party, right?
I didn't vote for anybody in 2016. Yeah.
Sure, hell yeah. You did your part then. Right? So my question is, what is the point of arguing this with a bunch of people who agree with you? Shouldn't you be surrounded by a bunch of people that you so-called condemn?
I guess it's a production question. Yeah, that's it. I mean, I don't know what you to say. I have claims, and if we agree, I guess we can all smile and shake hands.
But like, this is a direct question to you. Like, why sit in this pocket of moderation if you so clearly condemn everything that's going on the right? A group that is so clear.
The quartering is so fucked. The quartering is so fucked. It's fucking over. Tune into the Kino Casino. Get the update tonight. They're going on in a little while. Like, we'll be done the stream in plenty of time for that. But like, yeah, the quartering is just completely and totally fucked. It's over. And it's fucking awesome, actually.
Really eroding.
And given the amount of time that I have spent fucking covering the Kino Casino and the quartering and doing watch parties, I resent that I'm being accused of being obsessed with other men on the internet who I barely ever fucking talk about, given the extent of my coverage of the downfall of the fucking quartering. Why is no one accusing me of being obsessed with the quartering? Why? What? I have spent way more time watching the quartering than almost anything else in the last several months. No one accuses me of being obsessed with the things I'm actually obsessed with, and it's not fair. It's not fair. Stop being so obsessed with you. Okay. Okay, I'll try. I'll try very hard. I'll try very hard. Yeah, suffragette.
The Constitution. Why are you sitting here arguing with people that agree with you?
Is your argument that I should be a progressive or a liberal because I don't like what's happened to the Constitution?
No, I think you should be a little bit louder about the things that you actually believe instead of this like safe beanie wearing moderate.
Well, what does that mean?
Well, I condemn everything that the right has done.
I didn't say I condemn everything the right has done.
Yeah, we should be doing
Let's put it like this.
studies.
When I
We'll
look
do bad
at the
studies
option in
tomorrow, Melinda.
2020
It'll be
between
great.
Donald Trump and Joe Biden, I was actually supporting Tulsi Gabbard and Andrew Yang. And the Democratic Party does what the Democratic Party does. So I said, okay, well, who's the guy who's going to have my back more than them? These people I view as authoritarian, bad for a bunch of different reasons. And Trump's first term, it was a nightmare what they were doing.
Right.
And Donald Trump put out his second term agenda. And I said, you know what? There's a bunch of these things I agree with. And the Democratic Party, I find to be, it is untenable what they have done.
Tim, like you are a smart guy. I'm not going to sit here and call you dumb and shake my head at you. You're a smart guy. How were you so easily conned?
In what way?
Saying that like, well, no, he's going to do what he says he's going to do.
What do you mean? Like, give me specifics.
Okay.
Like I appreciate that the line of thought, but you got to be specific.
Give me a specific about something that you voted for Donald Trump to do.
Tariffs.
How did that work out?
Fantastic for me.
Yeah, we're all rich, right? We're all cruising. That's working out for us.
Well, I think there's a fundamental misunderstanding among people who don't do manufacturing or run businesses on the issue of tariffs. So for me, the issue of trade control was extremely important, and we don't see that from the Democratic Party. So I voted for that. Trump did it, and I fully acknowledge that there's negative repercussions, but it's called spending money to fix problems down the road.
Why are you willing to erode the Constitution, something that you so vehemently fought
No,
for?
I think Democrats erode the Constitution substantially more.
How?
So we can talk about the First Amendment. We can talk about the Biden administration going in and get people banned. That's the easiest one.
Right, yeah.
We can talk about the Fourth Amendment.
I remember that nasty Democrat, Brandon Carr, who took down Jimmy Kimmel, the stand-up comedian that
What did
I
Carr
also
say?
am.
What did Carr say?
He made a call directly to NBC. Why should unilateral government power be used like that? And why are you just saying I condemn that, but you're actively doing nothing to fight it?
No. I think the issue largely is regulatory bodies exist. I agree with the existence of regulatory bodies. Sometimes they do things you don't like. You didn't like it here, but I'm sure you like regulatory bodies elsewhere. So I'm not going to come out and pretend to be angry about something that is complicated or litigation we don't understand because it's tribal points for me. I'm going to say, what did Brendan Carr actually say? What did he actually say when he called NBC?
You need to take Jimmy Kimmel down.
He did not say that.
Then what did he say?
I don't know, and that's why I don't have a strong opinion about the issue right now.
Right. So
you can't
we're
tell me
gonna
what he
pause
said. You
here.
can't pretend to be angry.
We're gonna pause here. Thank you so much. You've been voted out by the majority.
Oh, so
I appreciate it. Nice meeting you.
If you'd like to be the next debater, please head to the chair in 3, 2, 1.
Black guys back.
Welcome back.
So the whole point of it being like, oh, it's the left, it's the right. I'm a constitutional abolitionist. I want it gone.
Constitutional
Constitution
abolitionist.
Written
Communist.
for the original American colonists who started this country.
Which were
largely white Protestants.
So it was written for white men that own land.
Property,
Mostly,
property,
yes. Yeah,
property, communist.
And after that, everyone else has been given rights, right?
They've not been given rights. I would argue that over a long enough period of time, there's been advocacy to make the Constitution protect against a government infringement. The Constitution doesn't give
given the
you
rights that protect the white men that own land. Everyone else.
I don't think we're disagreeing. I'm saying the Constitution doesn't give us the rights. It stops the government from doing things.
Yeah, sure. It gives you the protection from blah blah blah. Fine.
Yeah, and it was like overwhelmingly white European male
so the point that
landowners.
I'm making
Landowners.
is we've seen throughout the history of our country that other people have
Property,
been attacked.
capitalist.
Right? Every other marginalized group has been attacked. There's been amendments. There's been back and forth whether people do or do not have access to rights. The whole point that I'm getting to is the United States Constitution needs to be thrown out completely. Thomas Jefferson agrees with me.
Well,
Thomas
that's an
Jefferson said that the Constitution should be rewritten every 19 years. Now, around that time, they were dying early, so I'm thinking it was like 50 years or whatever. But he made the point that if we actually have legislation, laws, or a constitution that governs people in the future based off of what we've written, then we're doing an injustice. So saying that we should uphold something that was written 250 years ago when I was 3/5 of a person, like, what are we doing?
Oh, back then it was worse than that.
Yeah, no,
it's compromising completely.
Oh my God, this black fucking communist is walking all over Tim Pool because Timmy does not understand he's talking to a fucking communist. These are communist talking points. We need to get rid of the Constitution because the Constitution was written for property owners. That is their definition of whiteness. The property owner, the capitalist. Capitalism means private property ownership. The Constitution was written to uphold capitalism, and therefore we need to abolish it and replace it with communism, Tim. That is the argument he is making. And Tim doesn't know this because Tim is a fucking retard and does not understand the left. And he goes, oh yeah, I agree with you. It's Timmy. You have been covering the left for twice the amount of time that I have, Tim. How have you not learned this? Yeah, because he's retarded. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He made the point that if we actually have legislation, laws, or a constitution that governs people in the future based off of what we've written, then we're doing an injustice. So saying that we should uphold something that was written 250 years ago when I was 3/5 of a person, like, what are we doing?
Oh, back then it was worse than that.
It's
compromising.
Have you read the 1619 Project?
No.
Okay, cool. The reason the Constitution and the way the United States government is set up, it's literally because the founding fathers were slave owners. They were racist slave owners that wanted to uphold that
property
power.
Owners.
They wanted to give the power to the states.
Well,
there's
a lot of context missing from that. You're familiar with the issue of the Declaration of Independence in South Carolina and Georgia. Thomas Jefferson was angry with the king for bringing slaves to the colonies. I'm not saying he wasn't a racist.
No, he wasn't.
He wanted to include a provision.
One of the biggest reasons for the Revolutionary War is because Britain no longer wanted to uphold chattel slavery.
Well, I mean,
and the colonies wanted to because they had been so successful as far as making money. The colonies, period.
The Southern colonies did.
The colonies, period.
I mean,
now, after the Civil War, then they shifted away where you saw kind of a split where the Northern colonies didn't want it as much as the Southern colonies.
Well, that's before the Civil War.
That's besides the point.
This is around 1820, in fact.
No, I'm saying after
around 18.
Not after the Civil War. I'm sorry, after the Revolutionary War.
Right. So yes, very shortly after the Revolutionary War, Thomas Jefferson had written a statement for the Declaration that stated the king has brought people to this land to wage war against us, something to that effect. And South Carolina and Georgia contested to its inclusion in the Declaration because they wanted slavery so bad. But don't get me wrong, all of the colonists did. We agree on
one of the biggest drivers was the fact that there was a slave that was in the colonies and his slave owner took him to Britain, and Britain actually had a rule that no one could be slaves, and so he was able to win his freedom for being in Britain, and that shook the foundation of the colonies, which forced them to actually push forward the Revolutionary War and then come with the United States Constitution. The point that I'm trying to make is the United States Constitution needs to be abolished because it does not protect all the people. We need to completely rewrite the United States Constitution and give protections to everyone. Everyone needs to have equal rights under the protection of the law. We can go back and forth about everything else.
Do you think that you're allowed to have the opinion you like the Constitution, all that stuff? I'm not going to argue. How do you think this country would react if you were successful in abolishing the Constitution?
Yeah, I think that it will be a violent revolution.
Pause here. We're out of time.
Violent revolution.
I appreciate it.
Violent revolution.
All right,
You don't
Tim,
say.
It's time for
Violent
the final debate.
revolution.
You'll have 10 minutes uninterrupted. Now look around the room and choose who you would like to continue the dialogue with.
I think I'll go with. I like this guy.
Why did you choose Luke?
He had asked me questions about why I believed what I believed or why I would vote the way that I did, and I thought it was genuine. I thought we could have a good conversation. So I'm interested in hearing also what he thinks and what he believes, and where maybe we'll disagree and agree.
My surrounding claim is that in 2026, all moderates are cowards.
Let's go, Fab.
All right, well,
let's go.
No.
Sure. Yeah.
I certainly don't think I am. I think that one of the biggest problems that we have in this country is media polarization.
Totally.
There are family members of mine that only watch MS Now, and there are family members of mine that only watch Fox News, and I watch both. And so then I see, you know, when I turn on MS Now, the only thing they're talking about is going to be in one direction. I turn on Fox News, the only thing they're talking about is the other direction. And this makes people really on edge and then say, I need to be on one side. It crafts a moral worldview. While I certainly understand your point, actually, let me do this. Are you saying take a side, stand up for something?
More or less. I'm saying that over the last, we'll say 26 years, right? We have been, well, barring 2016. So from 2000 to 2016, we were kind of controlled by a centrist government. And I feel like that, even though Barack Obama was a progressive for his time, we view him now as pretty centrist, right? We're in a room full of progressives.
I would agree, just even back then as well.
Right. That opened the door.
I just had an idea. And this is, okay, I know it's a little bit off topic, but I'm just going to put this idea out there. Does someone in the community want to take the BigTech clip from my intro and like edit it or something to make it look like a different person or make it sound different? Because the thing is, I think the fucking clip is so fucking funny. And I love that it's followed up by Nick saying it's retarded, that I really, 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 really want to keep the clip in my intro. But at the same time, I'm kind of sick of his fucking Pisces bullshit. And so if we can make it look different and sound different in some way, like maybe using AI, I don't know what the answer is, but I bet I have some smart member of my community that knows how to do that shit. Just let me know, okay? Just let me know. Yeah, Golf, it's time for your redemption. Golf, fix the video, asshole.
For someone like Donald Trump to come in and actively erode our Constitution and the very foundation that our country is supposed to be.
Well, is your argument that everyone should be against Donald Trump then?
No. You're a cusp.
So then what's your gripe with moderates?
Centrism and moderation in 2026.
Yeah, someone make it into Amalek or Adam Green.
AIPAC money, in the age of Larry Ellison, Barry Weiss, all of these talking heads, all of these political entities, Peter Thiel, Mark Zuckerberg, all these, this technocracy that we are not far from, right? Why do you get to sit in the middle and argue both sides while raking in dollars from these exact entities?
Well, what's your proposal? I guess I'm trying to understand. My view of what it means to be moderate is that sometimes the right is correct and sometimes the left is correct.
Sure.
And I think my view is I come from interestingly, the area of Chicago where I grew up has turned red. It's firefighters, it's cops, it's working class Joes.
Why is that?
That it turned red?
Yeah.
I think for a lot of these people, they feel that the Democratic establishment has abandoned them on a few issues.
Mm-hmm.
The mass migration that we saw, or the large migration, call it whatever you want.
Wasn't there a huge, like you're saying, wasn't there a huge migration of blue to red and red to blue, right? You made that claim.
You mean like California to Texas?
Sure.
And New York
Inner
to
city
Florida,
Chicago to outer city Chicago, suburbs, things like that.
Yeah, the people in my neighborhood didn't really move. They don't have the money to do so.
Sure.
So there is a large migration. I mean, every neighborhood migrated, but particularly for where I grew up, it's interesting that the politics of the neighborhood kind of tracked alongside myself. Like in 2016, I was for Bernie. The area where I grew up, it was like largely blue. I didn't vote for anybody. In 2020, I said, I guess I'm going to vote for Trump. There's the things I don't like about him, but here's what I agree with and why I don't like.
Why did you vote for him?
Well, unfortunately, I think one of the big issues with Afghanistan, and I'm not going to say Trump's done well with Iran, particularly, you know what I mean? But there was an issue of, for one, I was for Tulsi Gabbard. I donated the maximum to Tulsi and to Andrew Yang.
How's Tulsi doing?
Moderately well. I mean, she's not particularly in the political limelight as of right now, but I do believe she's going to try and run a spoiler candidacy against Democrats.
Sure.
But
How's
Andrew
Yang doing?
Andrew Yang not doing so well. I mean, he's got the Forward Party, but
why do you think that?
Why do I think what?
Why do you think that Andrew Yang is not succeeding in today's day?
Because I believe the Democratic machine, like they did to Bernie, ices out anybody who wants to actually win up on a populist grassroots level. And I don't know how to vote for someone like Joe Biden, who I think is evil. And I think him and the administration, Hillary Clinton, have done such horrible things that I said, we need, like Andrew Yang was my principal guy. I'm a big fan of Tulsi as well, largely because she had military service and was in opposition to these foreign wars. And when we didn't get it for the second time, I said, I guess I'm voting for Donald Trump for a few reasons. He was the only one talking about why we need trade controls. And I agree with these trade controls, but I fully recognize that they do cause short-term economic damage. And that's bad for a lot of people. I can recognize that.
Why? are we in the position, or why as a country did we end up in that issue with trade? Why did that happen?
There's a lot of arguments for it. If you go back to the 90s, you can look at these general free trade agreements. The belief from a lot of individuals is that when there's trade agreements between countries, you prevent war.
Who passed those?
These laws? Yeah. That go back to both parties since 1950.
Sure.
So,
but in the 50s, who passed that? Like where did they align politically?
Both parties. We call it the uniparty.
I would say they'd probably be pretty close to the center, right? One would call them a moderate.
We call it the uniparty. Okay. I don't think moderate's the right way to describe a cabal of elites who lie about their views to attract the most voters possible and steal power from the working class.
Sure.
Like moderate just means.
So if you believe that, what are your views? In 1950, where are you voting? Where are you casting your vote?
Oh, I'm not voting for any of these people.
Well, so
to be fair, I think we're the products of the 1950s. We'd have all very strange political views. But I would say right now, are you familiar with the liberal economic order?
Yes.
I think it was insane. And then the policies that we got from it leading up to before Trump came in was the continuance of this policy by which the United States imposes economic sanctions and military, we'll just call it their military, because it could be occupation or bombings on other countries unless they enter into debt with an international banking system. And they thought, you know what, this will prevent World War III. And did it? No.
So
how is that? Foreign sovereign nations and took away the rights of the people to vote as they wish.
How is that different, like the central bank entity, right? How is that different than most of the individuals on the right taking money from APAC?
That's not a good thing. I don't agree with that.
Then,
those are bad things.
Then why do you actively support that? Why do you actively support a president who's made billions of dollars since he's taken office? Why do you support that as somebody who loved Bernie?
The simple answer is the things that I align with, clearly you don't align with, and that puts me in a Trump position as opposed to a Democrat position.
Sure.
You have a lot of politicians on the Democrat side who got behind authoritarian practices during COVID. I'm not going to support those individuals.
So, but the authoritarian practices today, you're willing to look past.
Some of them, yes.
Come on, man. Come on. Like,
do you want me to lie to you and equivocate and pretend that I think politicians are all
I don't
good
want you to lie to me, and I'm so thankful that you're being honest. And I'm glad these cameras can see that, and I hope your fan base can.
And I'd say this every single night on my show. It is silly that you get people who come on here and try to defend the indefensible. Like sometimes you're a conservative and you're wrong. Sometimes you're a Democrat and you're wrong.
Sure.
It's silly to come here and be like, no matter what the argument is, I have to tribalistically defend something that's stupid. But here's the issue. There are things that Democrats have done that terrify me and I cannot support. Now, that being said,
is there good that they've done?
There's a possibility. The one thing I like to shout out for Joe Biden is banking and ATM issues. I know it seems a little light, but I can't believe that the right attacked Joe Biden on the issue of trying to get rid of ATM fees. I know it might sound so light, but you got to start from the bottom.
It sounds like a very safe Republican moderate belief. And
Certainly.
and dude, you are entitled to have those beliefs. Yeah. And like, we live in this country. We are allowed to disagree. This Constitution that you allege is fully eroded, we still have the ability to do this, and that fucking rules. But I will say, we've all seen what's been going on in our country this summer. We've been holding the World Cup here. We've been seeing people come here and see this country for what it truly is, and they fucking love it.
They love it.
Right?
It's great.
What do they love about it?
Well, I love when they went to Chicago and got the deep dish pizza.
Right.
I love the people who said
Where'd that deep dish pizza come from?
Giordano's?
Yeah. Okay, that's that last name. That doesn't sound like an American last name. Where'd that pizza come from?
It came from America.
Immigrants.
It didn't.
No, it didn't.
Chicago-style deep dish came from Chicago.
But it's
let's say the descendants of immigrants, if you want to get technical.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is these
American-style pizza was uniquely American and distinct from Italian.
K-Stern gifting a channel membership on Rumble at the very end. W's to you, K-Stern. Thanks for supporting the stream today.
Style pizza.
Totally.
I
completely agree.
Tikka masala comes
but it's
from?
still pizza.
Do you know where chicken tikka masala
It is a
comes
British inclination. I get
Scotland.
it. Like, I fully get it, man.
We agree. It's amazing.
You are talking to a 365-pound man with a knife tattoo. You think I don't know where tikka masala is from, dog?
We love it. We agree.
I mean, I don't love that it's their national dish.
Bro,
I think.
I'm part Korean. I had family who fled war and came to America and were welcomed in the beautiful bosom of this nation to live an amazing life.
Then why are you voting for an entity that wants to erase that?
They don't want to erase it. I think you have a misconception. I think it comes down to, I look at a Biden administration that brings in there's wide estimates from 4 to even upwards of 20 million, right? And if you pick what number you think is right or what's wrong, it doesn't matter. We saw we saw mass migration into this country on a large scale. And I think that is bad for the economy. I think it's bad for the younger generation. And I see ideologies pushed by Democratic Party politicians and activists that I think are detrimental to the future of the younger generation of this country, namely my child.
So we keep talking about this Civil War issue, these secessions and everything. The big issue that's going on geopolitically is we've got a massive fucking target on our back. Wouldn't you want more people to be in this country to fight against that? Wouldn't you want more
What's
hands?
the target? Like, I mean, like, who's the threat?
We are. Israel, through us, is a threat. So we have.
But you're saying like there's no retaliation in the United States from
Absolutely.
targets?
They are hanging banners calling for the assassination of our sitting president.
Yeah.
And I don't agree with that. I don't want that to happen. If that were to happen, I do not like the outcome that's going to.
I don't see how bringing in more people from around the world, which whether right or wrong, changes that.
Isn't a larger country stronger? Isn't China vastly more advanced than we are?
Not necessarily. No.
Yes,
Like,
they are.
Is India? Like they have high levels of poverty in certain areas. I think
they exist within a caste system. That we're comparing different things.
I think the United States likes to put on these airs, particularly Republicans, about how everything's perfect and great when it's not. You've got slums. Japan does this. China does this. Yeah. It's hard to gauge who's like which country is going to be the pinnacle of success of their ground populations.
I don't want us to be the pinnacle. I want us to be the country that we should be.
Which is?
A country that continues to change and grow and develop and welcome people
I'm
in.
going to pause here. I'm going to pause here. We are out of time. So I want to thank you both. I want to thank all the debaters.
Okay. That was painful for me to fucking watch. That sucked. I'm trying to get a good freeze from a Tim. Tim sucks. Tim's an idiot. Tim has no real convictions about anything. Tim does not understand the left at all in any way. And it really does pain me that this is the type of slop content that is influential, because this type of slop content is why the far left is going to win. This type of bullshit. This type of like progressive debate me bro thing from both the left and the right. I cannot oh man, I cannot stand this type of thing. I cannot stand this debate bro culture where just like everyone acts like they know about topics they really don't fucking understand just because they studied a cheat sheet 5 minutes before the fucking debate, and then all of a sudden they think they know every single thing about this topic when they don't. But they get up there, they act confident, they put their hands on it and say, how do you not agree with me? Obviously this is correct because I'm going to repeat these talking points that I was just given by my handler off screen. And they're all just fucking social media whores. They're all just fucking social media whores. None of them really have any strong convictions about fucking anything. And that's true on the left and on the right. And it's just like, no one cares what the truth is. Everyone sucks. Everyone is stupid except us. We're the only people who are hinged into reality. And that's why you're a member of my cult. Or maybe you're not yet, because you haven't figured out I'm right about everything yet, but you will figure it out someday. And then you will join and it will be good. I don't know if I can do the casino tonight. I don't know if I can do it. I might watch the casino on my own. I've got like some projects I'm working on in terms of like, like redecorating and doing women's things. So I might watch I don't know if I can watch the Kino Casino tonight. I don't know if I have it in me, because it really depends on when they start the actual quartering segment. And it's kind of like, I don't know, but I would encourage you all to watch the Kino Casino segment. I would encourage you all to watch it. That's it for me, guys. Kind of a lazy stream today. I fully acknowledge it was a lazy stream. I will do something far more productive tomorrow. I promise. Okay. In the meantime, Mac B is hosting movie night in the supporter Discord. I think he's watching a David Bowie concert tonight. Am I right about that? If Mac B is watching some sort of concert series in the supporter Discord at 9 p.m., I highly encourage everyone to go join. Go hang out. Mac B does trivia. He's an excellent host. Movie night in the supporter Discord is going to be in about half an hour. So you do have time to join. You can follow the link in the verification to the verification channel. If you find the post on the YouTube post tab, that's for channel members only. You can also find it in my Substack chat if you are a member over there. And, get into the Discord, get verified, you can come to movie night. We do them every Sunday at 7 p.m. and every Monday at 9 p.m. And yeah, go to movie night because it's awesome. Okay, guys, I will see you tomorrow, where I promise I will cover much more important content than this. I promise. We are doing serious content that is worthy of our attention tomorrow. That's it. See you guys.
How are you feeling? How long have you been here? 3 months, May 17th. And what brought you? That's difficult to answer. playing the piano for people has eventually resulted in your being here in the hospital. That's difficult to answer.